Business, I got to say a big shout out because Harry, Elsie, and Charlie, guess where they're away to?
Disney.
No, where they're away to Dublin Airport
Cork.
to go on holidays to Lanzarote.
Oh, lovely.
How nice is
Lovely.
that?
Hopefully it's raining. Nah, I'm only joking.
You devil.
Actually, we've got good weather here. We're happy
We do.
enough.
Young Cuddy in there is going to Glasgow now.
Who? Michaela.
Michaela.
She's never in the country, that doll.
And do you know where she's going then in a few weeks' time? 6 weeks' time? The countdown's on.
Abu Dhabi, Bobby?
No, she's not going. That's her number one top spot,
Where?
right? Miami and a Caribbean cruise.
Are you having a laugh, Michaela?
No, that's me then for the year.
You think, yeah? Is that a commitment?
It is, because I've no holidays left.
All
That's
gone
definitely
by
me.
the minute. And how long are you going to Miami for?
4 nights and then an 8-night cruise.
I don't know how you do it. All right, I'm delighted for you, but also devastated.
A wee bit jealous.
Yeah.
I was jealous when she said
Come
it
here,
to
let me ask you. Your wee van was in the doctor's yesterday.
Oh, the van got on good prescriptions with the doctors. Yes.
Did she pass?
I give the boy the keys. I says, I'm saying the rosary. And they kind of looked at me. Everybody probably says that. And so I says, I'll be back in a half an hour, but I was...
Did it pass?
No, it didn't. I knew it wasn't going to pass. Well, the horn was the big thing, you know.
Beep.
Yeah.
And what else?
Oh, you got to tell me this.
No, I've done that already.
No,
Come
the
here.
one about the
no,
car.
I did already as
No,
well.
but no,
I mentioned it afterwards.
You didn't, did
I
you?
did, yeah.
All right, okay. So about 6 or 7 things, but they're not too bad. I got the grinder out yesterday at 6 o'clock. I didn't have the engine, but I got the grinder out, right?
Are you on about on your phone or what?
No, the grinder,
Oh, right,
a
okay,
handheld
yeah.
grinder
Yeah, okay.
with a sand pad on it. I have to sort out the rust spots around the sills. So I have this grinder that I bought in Aldi for €50 and it wouldn't work, right? And I got it working. And then I started grinding away at the van. I says, right, I'll tackle that tomorrow, meaning today. So that's on my job today.
You're going to be grinding.
I'm grinding.
Is there anything to...
Who's that?
Is there anything to grind back to? Is there any...
There's a wee bit of metal there.
Any track rod ends, drop links?
There's
Bushings?
there's a pile of stuff. So yeah, but it's okay. It's I was expecting the Bible to come be thrown at me, but it wasn't so bad. About 10
It will
pages.
rise again. Okay,
Yes,
great stuff.
right.
All
So
right,
you
well,
will
that's
live.
good. All right,
Yeah.
I've got my yoke in tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, do you want, what time? Get the boys on the ball there.
No. Good luck.
Thanks for the mention yesterday.
All right, bye. It is the 9 till noon show, and at 9 o'clock, let's get a news update. It's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. €2.2 million worth of drugs have been seized in Donegal. 112 kilograms of cannabis was seized in Lifford yesterday as part of a joint operation conducted by the Garda National Drugs and Organised Crime Bureau, the Donegal Divisional Drugs Unit and Revenue. 2 men in their 30s were arrested by Gardaí and are currently detained at a Garda station in Donegal. The seizure is part of an ongoing joint investigation involving organised crime groups and the importation, sale and supply of illegal drugs. Investigations are ongoing. Donald Trump will announce sweeping tariffs on the EU tonight as part of his so-called Liberation Day. Tariffs of 20% on all EU goods are expected when the US President makes his announcement at 9 p.m. The Taoiseach has already spoken with the EU Trade Commissioner ahead of the announcement. Public Expenditure Minister Jack Chambers says Europe needs to unite.
There has to be a measured and proportionate response from the EU that's structured on engagement with the US administration and trying to uphold the principles of international trade, which have supported the growth of the EU and the US over many years. This, despite it being labelled Liberation Day, is going to cause damage.
Interim works are set to be carried out on the Bunagee Bridge in Letterkenny. The bridge has been closed since Storm Éowyn in January due to Donegal County Council's fear that it was at risk of collapsing. Council staff have carried out an assessment on the bridge with works due to be completed within the next month. The Council's Director of Roads and Transportation, Brian Cannon, has confirmed that long-term measures to improve the infrastructure of the bridge are being considered. Councillor Ciarán Brogan has been welcoming the advancement of works.
A lot of people use that stretch of road, so I'm glad that now we've got clarification from the executives that they think it should be resolved within a month or so.
The Northern Ireland Assembly has been told that the North West is still being discriminated against when it comes to rail provision. Foyle MLA Sinead McLaughlin said on Sundays more than half of all westbound services from Belfast end in Coleraine. She also said there needs to be earlier trains from Derry and later trains back to the city on weekdays to facilitate commuters, as well as earlier and later trains in the other direction to facilitate people coming into Derry to work and study. Ms McLaughlin says it's hampering the city's progress.
Only one train from Derry reaches Belfast before 9 a.m. on weekdays. The last train from Belfast to Derry is at 9:10 in the evening, and on Sundays, even worse, at 7:10. This affects more than commuters. With the growing university and degree already facing shortage of accommodation, many students are now commuting into Derry, and yet only one train reaches the city by 9 a.m.
Weather now, another dry and mostly sunny day today. Top temperatures of 13 to 18 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
No one knows your financial needs better than you. But when you're looking for answers in areas like how to protect your family with life insurance or saving into your pension, it helps to get advice from experts you can rely on. At Irish Life, we've helped generations of people with trusted financial advice to protect the important things in life. Search Irish Life or speak to your financial broker or advisor. A better life with Irish Life. Irish Life Financial Services Limited trading as Irish Life is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Irish Life Financial Services is an insurance intermediary tied to Irish Life Assurance for life and pensions. Irish Life Assurance plc trading as Irish Life is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to Wednesday's 9 till noon show. It's the 2nd of April and it's 4 minutes past 9 and we've got the usual great mix for you. Hopefully you'll be on board with us for the next 3 hours. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000, or you can give us a call too on 074 91 25,000. If you prefer, comments at highlandradio.com. That's how you email us. And if you're listening to us perhaps on the podcast or our overnight repeat, feel free to WhatsApp or to email us and we'll get your views and carry them on to the next live show. And then whenever you're listening to us, you'll be able to have your input in all of it. Okay, let's look at the papers. And, you know, in any other day, a historic moment like the Cam Corla having a vote of no confidence in them, in this case her, would be the front page story. But it's not. Everywhere you look, it's Trump's tariffs. It's tariff day today. And we don't really know what the implications are going to be for us, but there are going to be implications for us. And it's going to have a significant impact on our economy. 58 billion euro worth of pharmaceuticals or goods are exported from Ireland to the US every single year, which is a massive amount, isn't it? I think our overall exports are 72 billion and our pharmaceuticals are 58. And it looks like Donald Trump specifically going to target that sector. So I know there's lots of Trump supporters out there and you might support what he's doing for his country, but it's going to have a big impact on yours. That's happening at 4 o'clock US time and 9 o'clock tonight. We're going to find out about that. But it's in all of the papers today. We'll get to that in a moment. I just want to run through the Finn Valley Voice, the local paper out today. And Donegal's going green. Nothing to do with the football teams or St. Patrick's Day. Donegal's going green, as in green. This part of the country has the capacity to become a leading centre for the generation of renewable energy, says the experts on both sides of the border. Wind power, wave power, solar and biofuels. We've got it all. A spokesperson for energyefficiency.ie said the county is on track to install more rooftop solar panels in 25 than ever before. In January and February alone, 136 Donegal households had solar panels fitted, 10% up on last year's figures. You see them popping up all over the place now, all right. On to the nationals, and I mentioned tariffs. The Irish Times this morning, as the European Union braces for the announcement of tariffs by the Trump administration today, fears are growing in the Irish government about possible EU retaliation against US tech companies based in Ireland. The European Commission, which manages trade policy for the bloc, is understood to be preparing a range of possible responses for the US tariffs, including measures that target US tech firms and banks. So we could get a double whammy here. If there are specific tariffs as it relates to pharmaceutical products, that's a problem. But also if the EU says, right, well, the US has a big tech presence in Europe. Most of it's in Ireland because of our cold climate and also tax conditions, etc. Problem problematic. Well, senior government sources acknowledged that such EU measures would cause difficulties for Ireland, home to many of the US tech companies, European headquarters, and where they pay tax on much of their EU business. The government's understood to have pressed its concerns in Brussels through sources. Those sources said that all EU countries are lobbying the Commission to take the national interest into account when framing the bloc's response to tariffs. The only thing we know historically, and I don't think this is terribly controversial, that the EU is not adverse to throwing Ireland under the bus for the bigger picture. I'm thinking Brexit, for an example. They threw us under the bus on fishing and to a lesser extent farming because of Brexit. Are they going to throw us under the bus in tariff wars? Reading on here, our view has always been, don't do things that are going to hurt us, a government spokesperson said about Dublin's representations to the Commission. So also to... We'll find out. We'll find out at 9 o'clock this evening what the story is. I mean, there's going to be EU-wide tariffs. We don't know what they're going to be, but if there are specific industry tariffs, they're going to adversely affect us. But for years and years and years, there have been those that have been saying, and in fairness, the government amongst them, that we're over-reliant on these types of businesses. Hopefully we don't lose them. And that we should have been, harnessing and fostering smaller, medium-sized indigenous businesses in this country to better insulate us. Because let's not forget, tourism is taking a hit this year as well. So we could have tech problems, pharmaceutical problems, and then obviously a drop in tourism. Are they three of our key incomes in this country? We shall see what comes of it. Maybe it's all posturing. Maybe it's all part of, the art of the deal, and that Europe and America will come to some sort of an agreement whereby the US feels it gets a better deal and we can avoid the worst of tariffs in this country. The Irish Daily Mail this morning, introducing the Occupied Territories Bill would be an act of economic terrorism in the midst of a trade war with the US, senior government sources have warned. So that looks likely to be shelved in this wider picture. It comes after the Cabinet was warned that Ireland is particularly exposed to US tariffs as well as countermeasures from the EU. The mood at the Cabinet table was described as being very low, with government ministers just waiting for the scale of US President Donald Trump's tariffs to be revealed today. Cabinet sources said Tánaiste and Trade Minister Simon Harris warned ministers about the integrated nature of supply chains between Britain and, I'll read on, our biggest trading partner, the United States. Ministers were told that 32% of the goods we export go to the US and it provides 17% of our imports. Around 80% of Irish exports are to the US. And they are medicine and pharmaceuticals. But Donald Trump is pledging to directly target the US pharmaceutical multinationals based here. Now, the other side of it as well is that, we're in cycles here in that our big company is going to make big decisions over the course of 3 or 4 years because Donald Trump really, this is his last term. But that being said, J.D. Vance is coming behind him and he might be even, taking even harder line in this regard. We'll watch on, we'll see. No need to worry in the immediate term, but we'll just keep an eye on it. So as I say, any other day, this would be the top story. Not today, but the Cam Corla, Verona Murphy, has survived a motion of no confidence. Last night's result came as the government tried to end the speaking time row that has dominated the Dáil for months. The Wexford TD became the first Cam Corla in the history of the Oireachtas to face a no-confidence motion as opposition parties teamed up to take her down in protest of her handling of the last week's Dáil's bust-up. The row centres over an attempt by Malcolm Lowry and 3 other government-backed TDs to speak and to seek similar Dáil speaking rights to the opposition during leaders' questions. Ms Murphy pushed through a vote on the new speaking slot last week despite attempts from Sinn Féin and opposition TDs to shout down the House. Opposition parties tabled a motion of no confidence in her as they claimed she colluded with the government to force through this vote. She last night beat the no confidence motion by 96 to 71 with 2 abstentions as the government parties rallied around the Cam Corla. The Taoiseachs slammed the opposition's protest, claiming they were trying to erode the government's majority by intimidating people. Micheál Martin said, having given us scenes last week which had never been recorded in 106 years of this democracy or this democratic parliament, the opposition decided it would seek the camcorder's head. Quite interesting, Michael Larry then released a statement effectively saying, we, the government, we've won, we've slapped the opposition down. I might read that statement a little later on. It's not covered widely, but considering he's the key character in all of this, I would have thought it had been front page news everywhere. But it was a pretty wordy statement and a victorious statement. Right, okay. We are starting to understand now that there's something seriously amiss. There has been a huge reduction in the number of injury claims as it relates to insurance claims, be it business, cars, whatever. There's been a massive drop since 2019. The figures are related to 2019 because that, for the purpose of these figures, is the year they see is the last normal year, if that makes sense, pre-COVID and all that kind of stuff. But our insurance premiums continue to go up. And we were all told it was because of the cost of claims, weren't we? And there was big Oireachtas committee meeting hearings about this, and that's what they were stating in these meetings. Well, they're paying out less money, but our premiums are going up. So again, I'm sorry to say, unless there's something serious that I'm missing, we're being shafted here. There's profiteering going on because their costs are going down and our costs are going up. There's something seriously amiss. And I don't know why industries, power, insurance and others feel that they can take the hand out of us and get away with it. Why can they do it? Or, how can they get away with it? Well, the number of personal injury claims has fallen by more than one third since before the pandemic. It's prompted insurance reform campaigners to warn that there's no justification for continuing increases in motorhome and business premiums. The Injuries Resolution Board, which deals with all personal injuries claims that are not litigated or settled, said 20,318 applications were submitted to it last year. Around 8,000 awards were processed by the board from these claims. The claims involved were for road traffic collisions, workplace accidents and public setting accidents. So that covers everything. Do you know what I mean? So that's your small businesses. If you're a small business listening to us and you're paying astronomical insurance rates, or if you've got a soft play area, well, claims are down a third. Why are you still paying those premiums? Well, the figure is an increase of just 1% on 23, but of greater significance, it's 35% lower than 2019. The latest award values report from the Injuries Resolution Board shows a big fall in the volume of claims since the pandemic, despite high employment levels and a return to pre-pandemic traffic volumes. So their payouts are down 35%. Claims for accidents in workplaces, businesses and public spaces fell by 40%. So if you're a small business or a local authority for that matter, and your insurance is staying the same or going up, why? Because there's been a not far off half in the amount of money being paid out for claims. What is the justification for you paying full whack or getting your renewal and it going up? Motor claims decreased by 30%. Central Statistics Office figures show the motor insurance premiums were up almost 11% in February. So their payouts are down 30% and the premiums are up 11%. Now, someone really needs to take a hold of that. And the bottom line is we can't function. You can't run a business. You can't run an event. You can't drive a car without insurance. We're locked into it. And they're making an absolute fortune off our backs whilst the payouts have gone down massively. In businesses, in those kind of settings, public settings, down 40%. In cars, down 30%. Let's see. The Irish Daily Star, 2/3 of inmates in Irish prisons are offenders who previously served a custodial sentence. Much higher than I would have thought, actually. 2/3 of people in the Nick have previously served a custodial sentence. Aintu leader Peadar Tóibín told the Star there needs to be better rehabilitation mechanisms. The data was provided by, to the Meath, I don't know why my eyes aren't working correctly today. The data was provided to the Meath West TD following a Dáil question to Justice Minister Jim O'Callaghan. 2/3 of prisoners have previously served custodial sentences. There you go. And finally, stewards are being hired. Believe it or not, this is April the 2nd, unless they're taking a hand out of us. It's much less serious, by the way. The Irish Daily Mirror. Stewards are being hired to prevent sleazy sightseers from molesting the Molly Malone statue, if you can molest a statue. Dublin City Council announced the measures yesterday and insisted it wasn't an April Fool's Day joke. Council chiefs confirmed that stewards will patrol around the famous landmark located on Suffolk Street in South Dublin on a pilot basis starting in May. Of all the things to be worried about in Dublin. Her bosom, which protrudes from a dress, is somewhat shiny. So people are putting hands on it for pictures. And they're actually, and it does feel like an April Fool's joke, they're going to get stewards to check it out. All right, okay. Little to worry about potentially. Okay, back with more very shortly.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Hello, I'm David Foley, medical herbalist. Are you suffering with stress, anxiety, insomnia? Then ask for Irish Botanica Peace and Calm, a traditional herbal remedy. Irish Botanica Peace and Calm has a naturally relaxing effect, ideal for stress, insomnia, jet lag, and pre-exam anxiety. Call it a natural way, Letterkenny Shopping Centre for more information.
Running a business isn't easy, but accessing support should be. The new National Enterprise Hub is the single source for all government support for your business. With over 180 supports in one place, it's easier than ever to find grants, advice, training and more. And don't worry about not knowing what you need. Our helpful team will guide you every step of the way. Visit neh.gov.ie to learn how we can help. The National Enterprise Hub. Support starts here, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
At Bluebird Care, every day is an opportunity to make a real difference, where you change lives, where you're supported, where you belong. We're recruiting care assistants and nurses across Donegal for roles that offer flexibility, competitive pay and a supportive team that's always by your side. Whether you're seeking full-time, part-time or flexible shifts, Bluebird Care is where you can change lives every day. Are you ready to join a team that cares as much as you do? Apply today at bluebirdcarecareers.ie. Bluebird Care, where you belong.
At Restex Beds, we are celebrating 50 incredible years in business. And we are introducing our brand new Glenveigh mattress, comfort that's as legendary as our half-century legacy. Experience 50 years of bedding excellence at Restex Beds, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. Restex Beds, leave the rest to us.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
time now, 20 minutes past 9. Little Flower Playgroup is highlighting the fact that voluntary community playgroups have to turn children away who are looking to enrol in the playgroup, as they've been capped at 9 places. We're going to, this is in Strabane, by the way, I should say. We're joined by a number of guests now to discuss this. I'll say good morning first to Sandra Harper, leader at the Little Flowers Playgroup in the Glebe outside Strabane. Good morning, Sandra. Thanks for your time. And also, we also have Nicola Brogan, a Sinn Féin MLA, and also has a nephew in the playgroup. Good morning to you, Nicola.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having us.
No, it's our pleasure. Sandra, I'll start with you. Talk us through the situation.
Greg, this is the time of year when the preschool admissions, parents will get the letter, the notification next Wednesday. If their child has been accepted for their first choice of preschool. Now, and we're based in the Glebe, just outside Strabane. For last 3 years, we have been trying to negotiate with the Education Authority. Chris Scott is the decision maker this year. Our independent early years consortium, Rena McClellan and her colleagues have met with him in February to see if they can extend our PAN. This year, they have capped us again at 9. We've had 13 first preferences, which the previous years, last year we had to turn away 4 families, very disappointed families. We had to turn them away last year. And this year we're going to have the same conversation with families next Wednesday when they find out that, again, we aren't able to offer their child a preschool place. It's very disappointing for us. Also from a sustainability point of view, if the Education Authority is only giving us 9 places, that's 9 pegs amounts of money each month. And it's not sustainable for us as a playgroup to open and pay 2 members, maybe 3 members of staff with that amount of money.
Because there is a ratio, isn't there, really, of students to staff?
Yes, and community playgroups, we're in the voluntary sector, so we're quite fortunate that we've a 1:8 ratio compared to the nursery schools, which are a 1:13. And the children, it's a smaller environment, but we need the pegs amounts coming in to help fund us to keep the doors open.
This affects, of course, potentially any child that can't get a place, but there's also been particular concern as it relates to children with speech and language difficulties.
That's right, Greg.
How would it might adversely affect them?
Yeah, parents, a lot of our parents, the children, especially after COVID, there was transitional worries, children coming back out, and parents worried about them going into a larger setting. So the community playgroups ideally have smaller numbers. Normally we would have had 16, 14 numbers, which is nice. And if a child comes in with who's maybe a wee bit quieter, speech and language concerns, we're able to offer them a more tailored activities because we have smaller numbers.
Now, there might be nurseries with capacity, but obviously not every person has access to a vehicle or can make those journeys. So this is why these kinds of facilities are very important to specific areas, I'm sure.
Yes, that's right, Greg. Community playgroups, we want to keep them at the heart of the community. We're based in the Glebe. It's a village just outside Strabane. As you say, the transport links would be great. There is buses, but a lot of parents don't have access to transport. So, having a community-based playground, because this is a hub of support as well for parents, because we would have health visitors come in here, speech and language, educational psychologists, OTs, they would come into the playgroup to support the families and the children. So if we aren't able to offer this service, then there will be a lot of children will miss out. Another option for parents, preschool education is voluntary. It's not compulsory. So if the parents aren't able to avail of a preschool place in their own community, there's a good chance that they won't send their child away out of the community. And so children are feeling dislocated, disjointed from maybe grandparents that were live in the area, and they were going to be their primary childcare. So there is going to be displacement of children from the community.
Yeah, and I think school life now is being seen more and more starting in an ENRA or in a play group, isn't it? Really, that's where your school life journey begins, and the teachers and carers are acutely aware of that too. Sandra, thanks for that for the moment. Stay where you are, of course. Nicola Brogan, as we mentioned, Sinn Féin MLA, but also you have a nephew in the play group, and you've been raising this issue. What can you add to what Sandra has said?
Yeah, Greg, first of all, I just want to say thanks for having us on here this morning. This is a very important issue and something I've been trying to raise in the Assembly, and I want to make sure that the community-based playgroups do have their voice heard, because they play such a valuable role within our communities. As you say, my nephew attends Sandra's playgroup there in the Glebe, and I've seen firsthand the excellent work that they do. So I raised this at Assembly level with the Education Minister, Paul Given, through a debate in the Assembly, basically outlining the concerns that were raised with me from different playgroups right across West Tyrone in the Oma area as well. There's quite a number that have had their PAN allocations capped as well. And it just seems to be unfair, I suppose, that it seems like they're being it's unfair that the numbers have been capped, I suppose. So they're really worried about potentially having to turn children away. And that point that Sandra just made there in her last remarks is that some children won't get that their year of preschool, because they say it is a voluntary. It's not statutory, yet. So they might lose out on it altogether. So they're really worried about the children. They're really worried about the impact this will have on families as well and within the community, and then the impact that it'll have on their setting as well. We know there's a crisis right across the childcare sector, and we've been trying to bring in different initiatives to improve the childcare sector. And one of the big issues is around staff recruitment and retention. So this is here, uncertainty around staff and being able to keep them on with these playgroups. It's not doing much to improve the entire childcare sector.
Have you been able to raise this with the Education Minister in Stormont, Nicola? And if so, what have you received back?
Yeah, so we've been doing extensive lobbying with both the Education Authority and with the Education Minister. So as I say, I did raise it through an adjournment debate in the Assembly. So there was a number of contributions, both from myself and other members of West Tyrone and actually further afield as well. This is affecting playgroups right across the north. And I suppose that the Education Minister did, in his response, outlined the work that he'd been doing and his department had been doing for childcare as a whole, which is very, very welcome. I've been campaigning on childcare for many years, and we do need to see proper investment in these interventions. And it's welcome that there is so much money being put into it, but it doesn't go far enough, and there is more work that needs to be done. And in regards to the community and voluntary playgroups and these community place-based playgroups, they need the proper supports and interventions to help them actually grow and flourish. It feels that this is going to be an issue with their sustainability. If they've been capped, in Sandra's example, at 9 places, where is the room to grow for them? If it's going to, if it's based on October's intake, how are they meant to grow and improve?
Sandra, how do you determine who gets the places and who doesn't?
Greg, there's a statutory criteria which if a family is on benefits, they get first choice. They have first preference. And then after that, we set our own criteria that if a child came to us as a pre-school child, and then that's the second part. So our hands are really tied. Say a child came to us as a pre, but their parents aren't on benefits, we have to give first preference to families that are disadvantaged or on benefits.
Okay, stay with us. Gabriel Brogan is a teaching principal at St. Teresa's Primary School in the Glebe and joins this conversation because, of course, this playgroup serves as a vital feeder for your school, Gabriel.
Well, good morning, Greg, and good morning, Sandra and Nicola. Thanks for having me on. Yes, look, as a rural school, we work very closely with Little Flower Playgroup. Little Flower is a feeder school for St. Teresa's, and we also depend on the numbers. And plan restrictions will have a major impact, not only on Little Flower, but also ourselves. And this is something that myself and Sandra were working closely with last year with MLAs, having a meeting here in the school, sending letters and emails. And, when you have 13 children applying and the pattern is capped at 9 pupils, you potentially lose the opportunity of children coming into this local area for education into the Glebe. I would also say that parents want to choose Little Flower to start the children off in their education. And with the current system of the PAN restriction, children are being turned away from the community. We have a wonderful community here in the Glebe. Children receive a standing education. Not so many years ago, Little Flower had received the status of outstanding in their inspection. So parents want the community-based playgroup. With the PAN restrictions sitting at 9, it is totally unfair. And my current primary 6 class at the minute, there were 16 children had come out of Little Flower playgroup. So Little Flower have the capacity to meet those numbers and give the children an excellent start, an excellent nurture, and then they come up to us here in the Glebe.
Yeah, and you continue that work. I get you. Gabriel, I know you've a school to run. I appreciate it. Sorry for holding you. I'll let you go. Thank you for that. It was succinct and to the point. Donna is playgroup leader with the Rainbow Community Playgroup in Omagh, also affected by these restrictions. Donna, thank you for your time.
Hi, Greg. Yes, thank you for having me on. It's a great opportunity to highlight what Sandra has come on to highlight. So I'm really ringing in support of Sandra. I just wanted to come on really to make the point of that while Sandra's on and doing a really good job today highlighting this crisis that we're all facing within the voluntary sector, this is not localised to Strabane or Omagh. This is across the north of Ireland. like we have been having, we started the consortium here in Oma, and it has spread as far as Strabane, Derry, Fermanagh, Newry, Lisburn. We have groups in all parts of the north in our group, because we felt whilst we do get great support from like social services and early years organisation for young children, we just feel that we had to set up a group to have discussions and support about this reduction in PAN number for September, as the well-being of staff and having to deal with this year on year is at an all-time low. The anxiety within playgroup leaders having to sustain playgroups financially, like I suppose that is the beauty, I suppose, about community playgroups, because we have families that are really invested, and those are the people that are helping support and fund our setting. A bit like Sandra, we have all done our part in advocating for our own setting in our own towns and communities. And we, alongside Nicola Brogan also supported us here in Oma as well, and we're very thankful for her as well. But we had talks with the EA, and they had told us that they had allocated these numbers out fairly, and that some settings had an increase. And like myself, I've had an increase this year of 2 places, which I am grateful for. But the point being, I had 12 applications, and we have capacity for 12 applications. So I feel whenever that's the parental choice to send them to Rainbow Community Playgroup, I think that should be valued. And just on that there, I want to extend that, you know, the Department of Education will always tell you about the importance of the voice of the child. And these parents are being the voice of their child and choosing the setting that they think is going to work best with their child. And a lot of them, like Sandra's playgroup and our playgroup, will have attended the previous year as a fee-paying child. That means whenever the child is younger, they can attend for 2 years. So those parents know the good practice that goes on within these playgroups, you know, and they're advocating for the needs of their child to be met. And again, you know, the capping of these numbers is just not good enough. Like, we have capacity. I think that's the main point to emphasise. The voluntary school playgroups have capacity. It's just that we are capped, and we are then faced with facing our parents next week and explaining to them why they have not got in after them investing in us financially and investing in us emotionally. So that's one of my main points I wanted to discuss today.
And I know with dealing and working with people in this area, the last thing you want to do is disappoint or let down parents or staff, for that matter. It's very care focused, not just for the young people that you help to develop and care for, but it's the ripple effect of it as well. Thanks, Donna. Nicola Brogan, you know, I mean, obviously there's the positive impact that these facilities have on people getting on with their lives as well. We all want the best for our children in the best environments, don't we? But also, you know, it facilitates people to go out and do work, for an example, and meet the rising costs. You know, it also feeds into the economy, because for some, as we've already mentioned, the option that's a couple of miles away is it can't fit into into people's lives.
That's it, absolutely. And one of the big things we're talking about, childcare and the childcare strategy, and that was about getting people back into work, and mostly women. It's mostly women that are affected and aren't able to get back into work because of childcare responsibilities and other care responsibilities. So yes, the economic aspect and being an economic driver is definitely plays a big part in it. And back to that point that Sandra made earlier, that the fact that some children will then end up losing this opportunity altogether because it doesn't suit parents, and that they will have to drive outside of their own villages or outside their own communities, and it just won't be suitable for many parents.
Yeah, Meave is one of a number of parents that are either messaging in or calling in, and this affects you obviously and your family. Meave, maybe you'll just outline how it does impact you.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to contribute to the discussion this morning. I suppose first on from 2 perspectives, from a parental perspective, a personal level, and also a professional level. My 2 boys went through Little Flower Playgroup, and what I can only say is outstanding education. The opportunities are wonderful, and the leadership that Sandra provides within the community is out of this world, to be honest. I chose that playgroup because, first of all, it's local. It's about relationship building and about allowing my children to get the best start in life. My youngest child is autistic, and I fought to get him a place with Sandra last year in the Little Flower Playgroup. They were able to increase the PAN number because he has had a statement of educational needs, and he was able to receive the most amazing year that was critical to his development in that space of time. And I honestly can say, from a mother's perspective, had he not got that opportunity within that nurturing environment and those rural playgroup settings, my child would not be where he is today. And I suppose I want to say thank you for the amazing work that they do. But again, it can't be unseen, the work that has been done. And I suppose I was previously attached as a health visitor to the group. So I am aware of the level of need in the communities, and the social needs increasing. There's a lot more parenting issues out there. There's a lot more demands on parents. Children, we talk about early intervention and giving every child the best start in life. Children should be allowed to attend a rural playgroup, and these playgroups that are often overlooked with funding, these are providing unbelievable support to families in the community and children. So I suppose I just felt strongly enough that I wanted to make that point on their behalf. But it really, children are already on a reduced access to services living in these rural areas. So cutting back in places within these local community playgroups is absolutely detrimental to everybody, to the children, to the local schools, because Little Flower doesn't only just feed into the Glebe School, which is another amazing St Teresa's primary school. It also will connect to the likes of St Eugene's and Victoria Bridge, those real smaller schools that are dependent on numbers. And I suppose whenever you strip it all back, really, it's all about the relationships that children thrive in. And again, this is what they're getting in these smaller group settings. So I do, it really is detrimental to the whole community. But again, just through Sandra's hard work and perseverance, my wee boy with additional needs was able to receive the most amazing year, and it has been absolutely, it will stand to him the rest of his life, basically, from what he received. So I suppose I can't think it's praises enough to do with these amazing community rural playgroups.
All right, Maeve, well said. Thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate you calling in. And there are parents who are concerned about missing out on spaces. Lindsay joins us. Lindsay, I believe you did miss out on a place last year. Is that correct?
Yeah, my little girl, I had applied for Little Flower Playgroup, and I only had her for Little Flower. I didn't put her name down for anywhere else. Her brother was already at the school, the playgroup, so I just assumed that, not assuming, but I thought I would get a place, and because I'm from that area too. And no, we didn't get a place. And me and Sandra both, I wrote I don't know, many emails to OMA, to the EA, and when you did get a response, it was just the same narrative letter that they couldn't extend the PAN places, and that there was places in the 5-mile radius, and that I should send my child there. But I didn't want to send my little girl to any large nursery because she's very young, and I knew from the care that my son had got that year that it was a brilliant wee school, and I didn't want to go anywhere else. So that's, as I said, we talked to them trying to get a place last year, and it just didn't happen.
So what did you do, Lindsay, then with your young girl?
I did send her to another playgroup. It was a bit more of a distance away because I didn't want to send her to a nursery, and I was putting my foot down that I wasn't. And I have been working in childcare for years myself, and I actually was in I worked in a playgroup for years, so I know the kind of experience a child would get in that kind of setting compared to a nursery, which is a larger setting. And so I ended up sending her to another playgroup in the area. I do have to travel a bit, but they have been amazing too. As I said, playgroups to me at that age is perfect because I think that they spend long enough at school. I think that kind of environment's a lot better for that age group.
All right, Lindsay, listen, thanks for your input. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate all your time. I won't hold you very much longer, but what do you think actually is going on here, Sandra? Do you think the Department of Education really sees the service being the being the play schools, the nurseries, do you think they see that and that's where the investment is and, they'll maintain a small number of play groups on a sort of a piecemeal basis? I mean, there's something going on policy-wise here, I presume.
Oh, definitely, Greg. There's something going on behind the scenes. They're capping 9 seems to be like a predominant number through the voluntary playgroups.
Which is one above the ratio as well too, which is kind of
and that's just
peculiar.
one over, as you say. But while there's places in the statutory, they're funneling all them extra children to the statutory. They want to keep the statutory, and like a statutory school could have 2 sessions in a day, 24 in each class. So as you're 48 children, we'll not be able to compete with those numbers. So the voluntary playgroups are definitely undervalued. They're not giving us, the recognition that we deserve. Also, we take in the pre-prees as well, and it's a good foundation block. These children need this year, maybe 2 years as a pre-pre, then bring them on into preschool. They need that foundation to help them transition then into the primary one. Because we're in the community, we have strong community links with the schools. We're visible in the community. We're out and about, and we get different people in from community organisations. So it is important for our children to be in the community. And for the Education Authority, Chris Scott, the decision maker, we've had more meetings between the Early Years Organisation, our independent Early Years Organisation consortium, begging letters from parents, from our MLAs. From Nicola has been really vocal and supporting us, and various MLAs, and letters, as I say, and emails, but we keep getting the same.
Okay, but Nicola, I mean, can we find out what's going on here effectively? Is it saying, if you want these local play groups, you're going to have to dig into your pockets yourselves? We've got this statutory service there. They're located in and around the place. Maybe you have to travel a little. That's the problem solved. We feel the nurseries are doing an adequate job, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that's what I believe for a second, don't get me wrong, but clearly there is a mindset there that is the way. And if more parents are interested, then pay, and Sandra can hire more people.
Well, actually, even some playgroups local to me have actually made that suggestion of doing their own fundraising so they can actually have a place for our children, because they really don't want to send them away, and that just shows the dedication of these playgroups. I just think that the Education Minister and the Education Authority need to be more flexible in their approach. They need to have greater understanding and recognition of the great work that our community playgroups do and the impact that this will have.
But we can't have this battle every year either, because what happens is playgroups go out of business. You can't break even, and I know there's many are breaking even because of the love and passion that they have for it, or maybe even losing money. We can't rely on staff not to take alternative options. So what can happen that this is not an every year problem?
That's exactly it, and there is a real risk to these playgroups closing, and I know a number have in recent years, because this is a battle year on year. So there does need to be a policy change, and the Education Minister, it's up to the department then, to him and the department, to actually look at their policy and to make those changes, and that's what we're calling for him, as I say, to recognise, acknowledge the importance of these groups and actually implement changes so that they can be sustainable and can flourish. Because in those examples from both Lindsay and me, the work that these playgroups do is absolutely incredible and so vital to the working of good, healthy communities. So we must be seen to support them.
Yeah, and there's anxiety out there now because, parents don't know if they're the ones that are going to get the call that there's no space for them. Nicola Brogan, Sinn Féin MLA, thanks very much for your time. Last word to you, Sandra, I suppose. Sandra Harper, leader of Little Flower Playgroup in the Glebe outside. Obviously, we're focusing on our local area, but we heard from Omagh, which is not far away either. And this is right across the north. This does require a significant policy shift. And there aren't any indications at this time that that's forthcoming.
Craig, this is year on year. For the last 3 years, this has been occurring. This year, we have signed up for the standardised day to happen in September, which gives the children a longer day, 4.5 hours, 5 days a week. We thought that would have put us on a level playing field with the statutory nurseries, but again, they didn't extend our cap. So the policies need to change. This needs to stop. It's too harrowing an experience for parents each year, the stress for staff alone, for myself and other leaders, and for parents waiting for next Wednesday to see if their child will be accepted to their preschool of choice. And it should be a choice. Whenever they go through the admissions process, parents are asked for their choice, for their preference. This hasn't been taken into consideration at all, Greg. Their EA are dismissing the parental choice. They should be listening to the parents.
Well, if the demand isn't there, well, then there won't be a playgroup. So the playgroup's there because there is the demand. We're not manufacturing a demand. You're having to turn, very sadly, people away. Thanks, Sandra, for your time. I hope there is a resolution, but it seems to be the same in a lot of these areas. It's every year doing the same fight every time, and it must be exhausting. Thanks for your time, Sandra. Keep up the great work there, and hopefully there is a resolution to this. Sandra Harper, leader of Little Flower Playgroup in the Glebe outside Strabane. And before the break, Aisling Kennedy's leader of Eglinton Community Preschool outside Derry, where there's huge demand, a lack of capacity, but obviously a lack of funding to meet those demands. Aisling, your situation's a little bit different whilst similar. Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning. I just wanted to come on this morning to kind of, we're in the same situation as a lot of groups across the north. I am friends there with Sandra. We're on a leaders consortium. So our situation is we have been capped at 19 spaces. We are registered for 24. I've had to turn away 20 other families who've applied for Eglinton Community Preschool. And just kind of reiterating again that it is parents' choice, and unfortunately that hasn't been the case. Going forward now on Wednesday, there'll be families thinking that we are full, and that's the reason why they didn't get in. And that's not the case. That we have, there's 5 spaces that we can't fill.
But
we have the facility.
There's a peculiar system here, is there not, whereby, the more children there are, or the more demand, or the better the reputation for your services go, you can't expand like that because you're judged on previous enrolments, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't. Whenever the birth rate is, increasing and decreasing every year. And then you have families moving into the area. You have different situations occurring. And parents and grandparents, because the cost of childcare, you see now an increase of grandparents kind of providing the childcare for parents. They allow them to go back to work, and they live in different areas. It should be the parents' choice. And unfortunately, it's not at the minute.
What additional... sorry, I beg your pardon. Carry on, Aisling. I thought you were finished.
From a financial point of view, that is over £20,000 that we're going to be losing out going forward for the standardised day. And that's a staff member. These are real people. These are families. These are, the mental toll that it has taken on staff. And various emails and phone calls were the same as Sandra, fighting for what the registered places that we've had for so many years. It's just a terrible situation to be in.
And obviously parents need to go to work. This plays a pivotal part in all of that. Can you give us examples of families that missed out and what it's additionally meant to parents because they couldn't get a space at your preschool, in terms of how far they might have to travel to get a spot for their child?
Yes, well, as far as I'm aware, the local nursery is full as well. So potentially families will have to go into Derry. So that could be, you're talking 10 miles.
Yeah, okay.
So, if they're commuting, it just doesn't work. It puts on more pressure. I've had applications that they have said that this is our last choice. And if they don't get in there, they can't go anywhere else due to financial pressures, time pressures on the family. So these children are going to not avail of a preschool place, but there's spaces there for them.
Yeah, and it's so important too, just in terms of social development, in many cases, language development.
Massive.
Okay. Yeah. Aisling, thanks so much for joining the conversation and helping us getting that message out there. I do appreciate
You're
it.
Very
That's Aisling Kennedy, leader of Eglinton Community Preschool outside Derry, and we'll make inquiries as to justification for the decision-making process and all of that, but it's an awful situation because it puts great pressure on these nurseries, these preschools, but also to mums and dads. And invariably, if you can't get a spot, brothers and sisters and granny and granddads, and you should be able to, as best possible, just get on with your life, get out to work, pay the bills, or get a bit of time to yourself or whatever it might be. But also for the children, it's fantastic for them to get into these environments where you've heard from the ladies there. They're clearly incredibly important for their social and social interaction, social development, language development, etc.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Tesco Club Card gives you the power to more, helping you celebrate Easter. Gather the family around the dinner table with our finest certified Irish Angus Chateaubriand, now half price. Have a cracking time with selected Easter eggs like Kit Kat Chunky, Smarties and Milky Bar, 5 for €5. And get drinks for everyone with Diet Coke and Coke Zero 12 packs, €8 each. Get more from your shop with your Tesco Club Card or app. Shop in store or online. Tesco, every little helps. Available in most stores. Prices vary and express. DRS supplies. Quotas may apply.
So, you're already using LPG in your home. Isn't that just gas? Well, it is gas, actually. But imagine how gas it'd be if you were to switch over for free to Flow Gas, with a 2-year fixed price and 400 litres of free LPG when you do so. That's totally gas. So visit flowgas.ie today to switch and save. Flow Gas. Energy for everyone. Terms and conditions apply. See flowgas.ie for more.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Donegal County Council would like to remind residents that each and every one of us is responsible for making sure the waste materials we generate is dealt with in an environmentally friendly way. Dumping waste can contaminate land, pollute watercourses, encourage vermin, spread invasive species, and impact on human health. It is also a visual blight on our beautiful countryside. Unauthorised waste activities such as dumping and burning of waste is illegal and can lead to fines, court appearances and in some cases a criminal conviction. We all have a part to play, so let's work together to keep Donegal beautiful.
Mutually and Shaw. Roll call for relay. Roll call for relay is calling on all schools, Montessori's and creches from every corner of the Northwest who's up for doing a simple school challenge. Boys and girls, do you have any ideas for a challenge?
Yeah! Go on the slide or do skipping. Climb 2 mountains in one day. A skydive.
To take part and have a bit of fun, simply email rollcallforrelay@gmail.com or check out our socials for more information.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
With Circle K Extra, save up to 3 cents per litre on fuel every time you fill up. Download the Circle K app today and start saving.
Heading off on holiday? Don't forget to park to relax. Travelling for business? Well, then just park to work. Flying for a city break? Simply park to explore. No matter where you're going, you'll find safe, secure shuttle parking just 6 minutes from the airport at Dublin's newest airport car park, Park 2 Travel. Book online now to guarantee your space, and then simply park to go. Park2travel.ie. For when you need to park to, well, travel.
Don't miss out on the excitement here at Century Complex. This Easter, enjoy lots of new and exciting films on the big screen in Century Cinemas. Enjoy a delicious meal with family and friends and backstage. Hop into Crazy Golf and Darts and spend hours of fun in Century Play. Century Complex is the perfect one-stop location this Easter.
Thinking about going solar? Want to save money on your energy bills? Then join us for our All About Solar information evening at Efficient Renewables, Main Street, Newton Cunningham on Thursday 24th of April at 7:30 p.m. Learn how solar works, the best system for your home, battery storage, payback times and real savings. Our experts will be there to answer all your questions. Don't miss the chance to take control of your energy bills. Join us on Thursday the 24th of April at 7:30 p.m. Efficient Renewables, powering a brighter future.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Discover trending new styles each week in fashion, footwear, accessories, homeware and more. Visit us to explore the latest arrivals in store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
All right, the weather's an easy one today. Another dry day, mostly sunny. Top temperatures 13 to 18 degrees. Might creep up to 21 degrees towards the end of the week. Laura on Facebook says, as a parent of a child awaiting notification of her preschool place for September, this is worrying. Both my older children both attended the excellent Little Flower over the last 10 years. To think my youngest daughter may not get a place is concerning. I've lived in the glebe all my life and feel very strongly that my child should be educated in the glebe also. Okay, thanks very much for that. Okay, we dedicated pretty much the whole hour to that story because it is a significant one. If you've any further comments on that, and if you're dialing us from the north, it's 00353 86 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp or the text number. And we've got another group of concerned parents heading to Dublin for a sleepover. They're on a bus at the moment, and it's all as it relates to a very important issue for our children here in County Donegal too, and not just Donegal, across the 26 counties. We'll be hooking up to them on the bus and so much more besides after we take a break for the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Here, Siobhan, listen to this email. Felicitations and unalloyed joy to you. Could you help with a small inconvenience? I possess $32 million in an account belonging to my father, the Prince. Oh, the Prince, Siobhan. We need an honest person to bank this amount for us. Oh, we're in the money.
Some things are too good to be true. The Specsavers Too Good deal isn't. Get 2 pairs of glasses for €100. Include single vision lenses to the same prescription. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details.
In the money!
Callahan's Electrical is Donegal's top destination for home appliances, offering unbeatable prices on trusted brands like Samsung, Rangemaster, AGA, Neff and Bosch. Whether you're upgrading or building a new home, visit Callahan's Electrical in Letterkenny or Burt, where quality comes home.
This spring, give your home an instant glow-up with Hillary's. Right now in our spring sale, save up to 40% off hundreds of made-to-measure styles. But wait, there's more. For a limited time only, get an extra 10% off everything. Blinds, curtains, shutters, even products already in the sale. Hurry, this flash event ends 17th of April. And remember, with Hillary's, measuring and fitting is always included. Book your free home appointment now at hillarys.ie. Hillary's, transforming homes across Ireland for over 40 years. Conditions apply.
Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana, the biggest direct importer of sofas, beds, mattresses and flooring in the Northwest. Best in stock deals on selected sofas and corner sofas. Best in stock deals on gas lift beds. Best in stock on mattresses. Best in stock deals on laminate flooring, semi-solid flooring and carpets. Full fitting service on carpets and wood flooring. With a free delivery service throughout the Northwest, including all of Northern Ireland. Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana. Always lower prices.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. €2.2 million worth of drugs have been seized in Donegal. It was part of a joint operation targeting organised crime groups and the importation, sale and supply of illegal drugs. With more, here's Michaela Clark.
As part of an intelligence-led operation, 112 kilograms of herbal cannabis with an estimated value of €2.2 million was seized by revenue officers in Lifford yesterday. 2 men aged in their 30s were arrested and are being detained under the Drug Trafficking Act at a Garda station in Donegal. The seizure was as a result of a joint operation conducted by the Garda National Drugs and Organised Crime Bureau, the Donegal Divisional Drugs Unit and Revenue's Customs Service, targeting organised crime groups and the importation, sale and supply of illegal drugs. Investigations, they say, are ongoing. Revenue is appealing to people, if they have any information regarding drug smuggling, to contact them.
The Education Minister says she's committed to ensuring all children with additional needs will have a school place next year. 200 parents will sleep outside Leinster House tonight, calling on the department to engage with them and provide clarity on the efforts being made. Parents from Donegal who've been told their child doesn't have a place at the new Little Angel School in Letterkenny are among those travelling to Dublin today to take part in the sleep out. Parents across the country claim while the relevant ministers have reiterated intentions to make sure all children receive offers in September, they've stopped short of offering guarantees. Minister Helen McEntee says they're doing everything they can to address the issue.
Compared to this time last year, we have 80% more school places sanctioned, and work is underway to make sure that those schools are opening up. The 369 additional classrooms have been approved already this year. I gave a commitment that 400 new additional education classrooms would be opened. The remainder of those, I hope, will be sanctioned by the end of this week.
And Greg will be speaking to some of the parents en route to Dublin very, very shortly on the programme. A playgroup in the Glebe outside Strabane is highlighting the fact that a cap is limiting the number of places they can offer this year. Leader Sandra Harper says the Little Flower playgroup has been capped at 9 places with 13 applications for admission from September. She says this means for the second year in a row they'll be turning away 4 families. She also says funding is so limited that there is no scope for development or growth, and lack of funds throws the sustainability of such playgroups into question. Well, West Tyrone Emily Nicola Brogan has a nephew who attends the Little Flower playgroup. She says this is part of a wider issue that she's been raising in the Assembly.
It's welcome that there is so much money being put into it, but it doesn't go far enough, and there is more work needs to be done. In regards to the community and voluntary playgroups, they need the proper supports and interventions to help them actually grow and flourish. Feels that, this is going to be an issue with their sustainability. If they've been capped, in Sandra's example, at 9 places, where is the room to grow for them? If it's going to, if it's based on October's intake, how are they meant to grow and improve?
Interim works are set to be carried out on the Bonagee Bridge in Letterkenny. The bridge has been closed since Storm Eowyn in January due to Donegal County Council's fear that it was at risk of collapsing. Council staff have carried out an assessment on the bridge with works due to be completed within the next month. The Council's Director of Roads and Transportation, Brian Cannon, has confirmed long-term measures to improve the infrastructure of the bridge are being considered. Councillor Kieran Brogan is welcoming the advancement of works.
I think it's important that it is reopened. It's been closed now since I raised it the last time, so it's a road that's used an awful lot, so I'm sure many people will be glad to hear that there's a solution now in place, and it's something I just want to see happening as a matter of urgency, because a lot of people use that stretch of road, so I'm glad that now we've got clarification from the executives that they think it should be resolved within a month or so.
The Northern Ireland Assembly has been told the North West is still being discriminated against when it comes to rail provision. Foyle MLA Sinead McLaughlin said on Sundays more than half of all westbound services from Belfast end in Coleraine. She also said there needs to be earlier trains from Derry and later trains back into the city on weekdays to facilitate commuters, as well as earlier and later trains in the other direction to facilitate people coming into Derry to work and study. Ms McLaughlin says it's hampering the city's progress.
Only one train from Derry reaches Belfast before 9 a.m. on weekdays. The last train from Belfast to Derry is at 9:10 in the evening, and on Sundays, even worse, at 7:10. This affects more than commuters. With the growing university in Magree already facing shortage of accommodation, many students are now commuting into Derry, and yet only one train reaches the city by 9 a.m. That's unacceptable.
The weather forecast now in that area tell us to expect another dry and mostly sunny day today with top temperatures of 13 to 18 degrees Celsius. Check all of today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, have a very good morning.
The obituary notice says for this Wednesday morning, April the 2nd. The death has taken place of Charles David Moffat, 32, Oak Grove, Dunfanaghy, County Donegal. House private, no wake. Funeral service in St John's Church, Ballymore on Friday at 12 noon, followed by private cremation. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Heart Foundation, care of any family member or James Harkin, funeral director. The death has occurred in Paisley, Scotland, of Peter McNamee, reposing in his daughter's residence at Eden Ahill Crossroads, Killygordon, tomorrow from 12 noon until 9 o'clock. Funeral leaving from there on Friday morning at 10:20 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon, interment in the adjoining churchyard. Requiem Mass can be viewed on the parish YouTube channel. The death has taken place of John Griffin, Demons, Ringsend, Castlefin. reposing at his late home this afternoon from 2 o'clock. Private removal to Lynch's funeral home, 50 Castlefin Road, Castlederg, tomorrow. Service in the funeral home on Saturday at a time to be confirmed. Private cremation afterwards in Lakelands Crematorium, County Cavan. The death has taken place of Margaret Crumlish, née Diver, Upper Ballybrack, Moville. Margaret's remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock funeral mass in St Mary's Church, Ballybrack, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. Family time from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Patients Comfort Fund, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Elizabeth Libby Duddy, née McGuigan, 104 Mulvin Road, Victoria Bridge, and formerly of Coya, Fintona, reposing at her home. Funeral leaving her home tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in St Teresa's Church, Sion Mills at 11 o'clock. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to Chest, Heart and Stroke, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Patrick McCabe, Cornagrilla, Glenties, County Donegal, and Carna Lynch, Ballyborough, County Cavan, reposing at the Holy Family Church, Eden Infa. Requiem Mass today at 12 noon, which can be viewed on memoriallane.ie, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Cancer Society, care of McGuinness Funeral Directors or any family member. And the death has occurred of Mary Gallagher, née Carolyn, formerly Staunton, Hazelgrove, Newport Road, Castlebar, and formerly of Glencastle, Belmullet, County Mayo. Mary will repose in Kilcoyne's funeral home, Thomas Street, Castlebar, this evening from 7:30 until 9 o'clock. Removal tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock from Kilcoyne's funeral home to Armore Island, County Donegal, arriving for ferry at 3 o'clock. Funeral Mass at 4 o'clock in St Crone's Church, Armore Island, with burial afterwards in the local cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to alone, care of Kilcoyne Funeral Directors. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
At this point in morning traffic, Sarah would be blaring the horn like it was going out of fashion. But today, she had deliciously healthy overnight oats from Aldi, sprinkled with fresh blueberries and nuts. So even though she's barely moved 20 feet in 20 minutes, she has achieved a zen-like state of contentment. But that could also be from the chocolate muffin she brought along as well. And we're moving. Good food, good mood from Aldi.
Okay, you're very welcome into the second hour of this Wednesday's 9 till noon show. A caller said, where is the under-21 match between Donegal and Tyrone tonight? Well, it's in Ballybuffet. Throw-in is at 7:30. Just to remind you, if you can't get along, that Dara Boner and Brendan Kilcoyne will have live updates here on Highland Radio. So we'll keep you updated on that game, as I say, if you cannot get along. And of course, the Ulster Championship starts on Sunday. Everyone really, really excited. What does it all mean? What are Derry going to bring to the table? What are Donegal going to bring to the table? How far or how deep are we going to go into that competition or the All-Ireland Series as a whole? Well, there's just a plethora of information and preview on air. Of course, we had the DL debate Monday night. The score is coming up Thursday night. And there's loads of other previews and interviews as well. So that's available on our website. Oisín Kelly on the team and the team have put together and are continuing to put together and provide a ton of content as we lead up to that big game. And of course, the big game itself, wall-to-wall live commentary here on Highland Radio. Brendan Devaney, Brendan Kilcoyne, I believe, are going to be joining Oisín Kelly for full match commentary and analysis and so much more besides. So that's that. We're looking forward to that. Greg, you mentioned a few times in the paper roundup in the morning that the First Minister, Michelle O'Neill, was in contact with Michael McMonagle, who was a former Sinn Féin press officer and was found guilty of sex offences. There was an independent inquiry into it which found she did not see him on the day in question at Stormont. You failed to mention that fact. Let's have balance. I don't recall mentioning that because obviously there's 7 or 8 stories a day. And I don't always track it. I possibly did, but there you go. Anyway, I've made that correction for you. Greg, it's really easy to understand why everyone gets away with ripping us off all the time. Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael. It's an ideology. It's the neoliberal ideology. I never understand all that ideology stuff, but anyway, thank you for that. It says they must be allowed to, or else it would be bad for business. Another, for decades, the IDA travelled all over the world looking to bring foreign direct investment into Ireland instead of fostering businesses at home. Now the tariffs will show how bad that policy was and is. I know exactly what you're saying, and I kind of said that myself. I think the IDA did better work in bringing in more sustainable businesses as well. But also, too, we have the likes of the local enterprise office supporting local small, medium-sized businesses. It's just that I suppose we've got used to this boom, although many of us haven't felt it either, but we've got used to this boom of these foreign American businesses in here. But there's a lot goes on. Like I understand where the Americans are coming from. I mean, you have some companies that produce items, American companies that produce items in an economy where labour is very, very cheap, and then they run the products effectively through Ireland and pay the VAT here at 15%, and then they end up going into America where the rate there is 21%. I mean, they're looking on at that and going, enough is enough. And I suppose we did know it was coming to an end. It's just how significant an impact it's going to have on us, I don't know. Hi, Greg. Great show as usual, and thanks so much. I do appreciate that. Regards the tariff, is it a coincidence that the government have just announced the new dole money for people who are working and are unemployed? Dole is high then, decreases. Are they getting ready for the US pullout? It's funny you should mention that because I was listening and reading yesterday, and I read one article about these tariffs coming in, and I was thinking, my word, there's going to be a lot of people potentially losing their jobs. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but potentially. And then I saw this new announcement of an increased social welfare, €430 if you have a history of work. And I was thinking, how long might that last if unemployment starts creeping towards 10%? Could we be, have we done something at a really bad time here where the state's going to have to pull it? Because if there are quite a few people unemployed and no jobs for them, for how long could they sustain $430 a week? The state, that is, our money. So I think it's actually no coincidence. I think it's a real poor coincidence of timing for the state. A caller says, the trade war is very worrying. I work in tech and have done for nearly a decade now, but with the EU threatening the US service industry, it's not great. The problem is that the only trade deal Trump will accept is one where he considers the US as winning. He doesn't understand economies of scale, nor does he understand that trade relationships are built based off of economies of scale, and the EU isn't going to take any deal that doesn't work for it. But Donald Trump is prepared for a crash of the US economy, and he's warned the people of America that things could get really bad before they get better. He's made no bones about that. He says that America is an open economy, and for too long they've had a huge trade deficit. That's also a fact. Okay, I'm not promoting what he's saying, but it is a fact. So manufacturing, the Rust Belt, all traditional jobs in that area have all gone. They've been lost. People in America are more likely to consume goods produced outside of America than from within. And he's saying, we're gonna force companies back to create produce in America for American consumption, where they're based in different countries. That's going to create jobs, and it's going to mean cheaper costs for people in America. But the ramifications for the rest of the world potentially are huge then as well. And I think the United States is pretty resilient for a bit of a trade war. The EU seems a bit scattered and all over the place. And, I am really concerned that our pharmaceutical and tech sector here could take a big hit. I did note, and maybe it's a coincidence, there was a relatively small pharmaceutical company, 300 or 400 people, that are moving operations out of Ireland. And I just wonder, is that the start of it? Let's see. Listen, I don't want to be doomsday here as well, but we're a current affairs show, and we have to speculate about current affairs and where things might go. But I don't want everyone to feel depressed and down. Let's just see. We don't know how this all may pan out. Piers Doherty is to blame for pushing. He pushed for this, but never followed through, and it's backfired on him and us. Now we're paying via the injury board's claim. He should have seen it in law that insurance premiums were reduced. Well, he's in opposition, in fairness, and I'm not an opposition or government spokesperson. The opposition cannot force anything at all. They can only raise the issue, get these people in front of Oireachtas committees and what have you. It's up to government to legislate. And this is in the context of a huge reduction in insurance payouts, both in car, businesses, public liability, that kind of stuff. It's dropped by a third, 40% in sort of business and public spaces. But we've seen an increase, just 11% actually, year on year, in insurance premiums. And it doesn't make sense. Where's the money going? It's not like bricks and mortar, right? So say with houses, you know, the price of blocks go up, the price of cement goes up, the price of wood goes up. I mean, this is IT based primarily. Most of the staff are gone because it's either AI or over the telephone. So where's this money going? They're making massive profits. And we called out these profits last year in the show. Do you remember some of the big insurance companies were making massive profits and we called it out? And there was some excuse given about something or other, blah, 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 blah. Well, now we know where those profits were coming from. They're creaming it in. And the thing is you see, you bank that money, you bank those profits until such time as you pulled up on it. Then you reduce premiums by 5% or something. You can see what's happening. Mark my words, this is how it's going to play out. You know, they've been banking these obviously excessive profits because they've been saving money. And then we might see a stabilisation or a slight reduction in insurance premiums. And we, like seals, will clap and go, yay, this is great, insurance is going down. But they've built up their coffers for their investors over 3 or 4 years off our backs. And then we'll all be delighted if our insurance comes down 15 quid a year. And that's how it works. That's how we're... anyway, it is what it is, that awful saying, but it is true. It is true. Okay, back with more shortly.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 2nd of April. You're playing on the blue sheet for the daily prize of €600. The reference number is S8. It's game number 14. The numbers are 42, 1, 44, 89, 65, 15, 71, 29, 6, and finally 64. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Mike Denver in concert with special guest Red Hurley at the Millennium Forum Derry on Saturday, April 5th. Tickets at Millennium Forum box office and also online. That's Mike Denver with guest Red Hurley at the Millennium Forum on Saturday, April 5th.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Derry. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands on custom charges with Space Hub Derry. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
Shop Homeland's April mega deals at your local Homeland or online at homeland.ie. Save 25% of Dulux EasyCar, vinyl matte and soft sheen interior paints. There's bold 100 wash lavender and chamomile washing powder now $19.99. Save €7. Offers end April 21st. Visit homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Aoife Dorian, are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Aoife. How are you getting on? Now, you're a parent and part of the Don't Forget Our Little Angels. It's for the September 2025 campaign. You're on a bus heading to Dublin. Remind listeners why.
Today we've had to make our way up to Dublin to stand outside the Dáil to our kids that didn't secure a space in Atlanta 25, and we're still waiting on Minister Moynihan to get back to us on with a report and suggestions to how our children can secure a place for September 25.
Did you ever think you'd find yourself in this position?
Oh, never, Greg. I said this is something me and the parents were just saying this morning, that we're absolutely exhausted. But even though that we're exhausted, we'll keep fighting until our kids secure a space in Little Angels in September.
Have you heard anything? We've talked about the importance of timelines and certainty and all that type of stuff. And, you know, I saw a few statements of word salad saying this is happening, or that might be happening, or this is being looked at. But in reality, have you heard anything to give you any hope at this point?
No, we had just received verification last night that the minister.
Okay, obviously, Aoife is commuting at the moment. Sorry, Aoife, you cut off there. You just received communications last night saying what? Right, I'll tell you, I'm going to disconnect that and get back to Aoife in a second. They are sort of moving as we speak, but it's a very important issue, and one which we want to cover as much as we can. That's Aoife, and there's other parents actually on that bus as well, which we'll be connecting with as well. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once here, and it's not fantastic being able to do it. But anyway, I'll come back to that in a sec. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Just to remind you too that if you wish to email the show, it is comments@highlandradio.com, comments@highlandradio.com. And we're going to try and make a connection to Aoife one more time and see what the story is. If not, we'll wait till they're stationary and we'll get in touch with them then. Fianna Fáil, Taoiseach Micheál Martin's grubby deal with Lowry, who Micheál previously described as a rogue politician, devalues our Dáil, in my opinion. Ain't to abstaining in the Camcorla confidence vote shows that those who voted ain't to in the general election might as well have voted for Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael. That was actually quite an interesting move. Aoife, are you there? Sorry about that. Aoife, can you hear me now? It's Greg here. Right, okay, that's just not going to work, so we'll see what we can do. As I say, they're travelling at the moment, possibly through the north. We can try that, see if it makes any difference. Possibly through the north, which, as you would know, the coverage can be patchy enough. Right, just a couple of requests, actually, that I didn't get to. I like to do them after 10. I don't mind when I do them, but we kind of routinely do them just after 10. Eamon Crarand in Rye Ramelton. Happy birthday from Godmother Bridie. Eamon, have a great day. Happy 50th wedding anniversary to Billy, Mary Tinney from Ballyholy Rafo. Have a lovely day from son Liam, daughter-in-law Claire, grandchildren Abby, Casey, Holly, and Andrew as well. A caller says at least 20% of homes do not have parents. They have a parent, and very often it is the female. The role of the mother is difficult when she's coping with a male or female child who suddenly turns 15 and becomes a complete nightmare of a child. Indeed, that can happen. Sorry, Aoife, I beg your pardon. We're listening. We just want to stay in touch with you. Hopefully you can hear me a bit better now.
Yeah, sounds a little bit better now, Greg.
Yeah, it's not fantastic. But anyway, listen, you were saying you got some notification last night. What was that about?
One of the teachers worked.
No, Aoife, we'll come back to you. We'll give them a half an hour or an hour. We'll come back after 11, if that's okay, Caroline, because I know myself from travelling down to Dublin and across to Belfast last week that once you're going through the north, the coverage can be incredibly patchy. So we want to hear about it. A caller says the free thinkers aren't free thinking whatsoever. Every single one can only spout baseless talking points. It's just galloping and gaslighting. It takes a second to say something wrong and 10 minutes to prove that it's wrong. And free thinkers don't take that 10 minutes. They just seem to listen to the first wrong statement. Well, you see, that is the way things have kind of gotten now, in that, you know, maybe we're all guilty of it. You find a few people that, you know, you find that you've trusted in the past, and they kind of say the stuff that you believe in, and just parrot what they say then. I don't... a caller says, my parents thought I might be self-harming and stuff like that, but also left me alone, so I guess they're lucky I wasn't. Others might not be. Hi, Greg. The EU has done Marine Le Pen a huge favour by turning her into a martyr for working-class democracy. The EU has long had a very corrupt reputation for letting billions of euros be spent fraudulently and knowingly, and now Marine Le Pen is being convicted for supposedly misappropriating a mere €400,000 because her people were not working full-time on EU projects. But listen, regardless of what anyone's politics is, you know, that's €400,000 of our money. So I'm not going to give her a pass on that because other stuff's happening. That being said, and this is a reference to a potentially concerning decision the judge made, even if she's appealing, to stop her running in the presidential election, which the judiciary really shouldn't be interfering, I don't think, with politics like that. And the argument being that it would set a bad example or would bring shame onto the office or whatever it might be. But that felt to me like an overstep by the judge, and it opens up the question of people of certain political persuasions and the interference by the judiciary or the state in relation to that. So that's not going to rest easy with a lot of people. A caller says, this is in relation to, and some of these are follow-on messages from our conversation about the show called Adolescence, which is, everyone seems to be talking about it. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm one of those people that the more people talk about something, the less inclined I am to watch it. I suppose for the purpose of this program I should, but I've read quite a bit about it. But the caller says, what's really happening to the world when a TV program is going to change masculinity? And by the Conor McGregor, like him or loathe him, he was spot on with what he said. But are we like him or loathe him? It's not just, I don't like the way he fights in the ring. It's just there's an awful lot about the fella. I have to take a quick break, Caroline. Oh, it's okay. That's fine. Greg, the camcorder has lost the dressing room. Well, half the dressing room. If it's expected she wins, it means she'll still be there. So they'll all have to work with her. The problem is that something else might come up in a few weeks or months, and there could be another standoff. This could be the least productive doll ever. And that's a follow-on there from yesterday as well. Okay, I have to take a quick break. We'll be joined by our next guest very shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Indulge yourself with friends or a loved one at the Spa at Orchids at the Holyrood Hotel in Bundoran. A midweek or weekend spa break is the perfect way to escape from life for a while. Take a leisurely walk along the Atlantic coast. Enjoy a dip in our private pool, a plunge in our Canadian hot tub, and treatments of your choice before dining in one of the Holyrood Hotel's acclaimed restaurants. The Spa at Orchids. Book now at holyroodhotel.com.
At Uisce Éireann, we're continuing to upgrade Ireland's water network to ensure a clean, safe and reliable water supply for everyone. We understand how this ongoing work can sometimes cause disruption to local business. That's why we now offer text alerts for businesses, providing valuable updates on outages in your area, so you can stay informed and plan ahead. Sign up with your mobile number and air code at water.ie. Uisce Éireann, delivering water services for Ireland.
Donegal County Council are inviting applications for funding under the Minor Tourism Related Works Scheme 2025. The closing date is 5 p.m. on Thursday, 3rd of April. Scheme guidelines and application forms can be accessed on the council website, donegalcoco.ie, and social media, or by phoning 074 9153 900.
Imagine what you could do with €20,000 to refresh your living space. Highland Radio and Foy's are giving you the chance to transform your home with a €10,000 home makeover draw, plus €10,000 in cash. Get your tickets now at highlandradio.com for a chance to make your dream home a reality.
Now, I'm delighted to welcome into studio Roseanne McGinley. Thank you so much for joining us, Roseanne. How are you keeping?
Thank you, Gretel. Good.
It's great to have you with us. Okay, right. Now, I suppose in terms of conditions and illnesses, you have had to deal with an awful lot, haven't you?
I suppose I suppose people would consider that, but me personally, I think everyone has their own crosses to bear. So mine's is more visible, and I suppose you can see it, but people, I don't think there's a home in Ireland where someone hasn't a condition of some sort that they deal with every day of their lives. Now, mine's is since birth, and so I've learned to adapt throughout my life.
And if you don't mind me saying, you have spina bifida, scoliosis, and you've also been diagnosed with type 2 respiratory failure,
Yes.
which means you carry an oxygen tank with you all the time. But that doesn't tell your story, right?
No,
That's what you.
That's it,
those are your conditions,
that's
right? But
it.
that's not who you are.
No, like, I suppose you could see two sides of, if you were to write kind of profile of my life, the medical profile, and you think, well, not being doomsday, but how is this person surviving? And then you could write the profile of what my life is, and it's quite normal. I have a full-time job in the ATU, and I have worked there the past 21 years. I have a degree. I have all 3 Gashka awards. I travel quite a lot. I sail. That's
That's why we're going to be talking about. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I've kayaked. I've a very busy social life and a wide group and varied friends and that. So if you were to rate that side of someone to read that, you would think it was...
It's two
just
different
it's two
people.
different.
But that being said, you know, there are people who have no serious ailments or what have you, but also don't necessarily have the drive to live the type of life you have. And just in relation to that, because it is very subjective, okay, you quite rightly say we all have our crosses to bear or issues in our family or things to contend with, but you have quite a lot. Have you always, throughout your life, had this attitude that, you know, you're just going to get on with your life and do everything that you want to do? Was that bred into you, or you would?
I think it was partly. I think it was partly in my makeup. I think it was partly bred into me. There's only 11 months between me and my sister. I'm the 11-month senior. My parents made the decision. My mother that we'd both start school together. So my sister was 4 and I was 5. And we're both kind of raised the same way for the best part. Now, it's saying that I was in and out of hospital quite frequently, but we were never... There was never any difference in our upbringing apart from that.
And they clearly then were determined, Roseanne, for you to... fulfill whatever ambition you had and to be whatever you wanted to be, regardless of what ailment you might have.
Yes, they were. No.
And were you always adventurous as a younger person in your teens, or did that come later in life?
No, always adventurous as a younger person. As I said, I did the Gashka Award from school, from secondary school. There weren't a huge number of us signed up. There were no transition year introduced into my secondary school when I was in it. It was at a later stage. So I would say there might have been we were the kind of first year, the inaugural year to do it. I would say there were 7 of us that completed it. And that was the Bronze Award. Then when I went on to 3rd level, I joined the Gashka Society and I did my silver and gold. And as part of the awards thing there was a trip to Newfoundland. And part of the trip was kayaking. It was just an element of it. And then that's how I kind of started kayaking. And from kayaking, within 3 months, everyone, even myself, noticed a difference in my posture and all that. Now, I never shied away from doing PE or anything like that at all levels of
But
school.
you just hit on something that forced a certain posture, and yeah.
You seen the benefits of physical activity, and that, and as I said, no, that I was always I never shied away from anything.
And obviously, we're going to be talking about sailing in a bit. Did that also develop a love of the water for you?
Yeah, well,
That's an uncertain yes.
I'll tell you, no, probably. I'm from Annagry.
Yes.
And when you're from the West Ireland, the sea is always part of your life. We have so many beaches. We have it's always, you get up in the morning, you see the sea. You just
It is.
It's in your soul.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is always part of you. But disability or condition, regardless of whether someone is or not, I don't want to take that out of the conversation. I want to talk more about our how we can or what we could learn maybe from people like you in terms of, finding activities, stuff we can do to get out of ruts, because sometimes we can you can be at home and it can be hard to motivate yourself, or you think that's not for me, or you think, I'm not, physically able for that because of my knees or whatever it might be, right? So what is it in your DNA or your attitude that, you find something you love and you commit to it? I mean, any advice in that regard about how people can find passions or pastimes?
There's something there for everyone. Now, sailing and kayaking, they sound extreme. But even going out for a walk or joining a local walking group, I know there's a few in there, I wouldn't have any details, but you hear from time to time of different. If you contact, say, organisations maybe like the Donegal Sports Partnership or that, they might have a list of people you do. They do a lot of inclusion things for kids and stuff like that. I know they have contacts for basketball, the wheelchair basketball, etc. So there is organisations there that you can go and get information. I know there's a lot of couch to 5Ks, and people maybe that they feel that they aren't physically, go along, listen to the kind of the advice they give, and create your own plan.
Yeah.
Like, no one, if you physically can't do a 5K, but if you follow the instructions, you might build up to a half a K or a 1K. And it mightn't take you the course of the 6 weeks of the 5K program. It might take you the course of the year. But if you get out and do it, and you will get there.
Yeah, and there's lots of people who work with you and set your own challenges as well, because it's your own personal drives and challenges. And I think if you find doing something that you love, then after you sort of get used to it, you're mad to get back out again, aren't you? How important is it, you mentioned sort of wheelchair basketball or what have you. How important is it for parents, guardians to try where it's possible to keep maybe a child with a disability or a condition active and involved in a sport or an activity? I mean, like in terms of their mental health in dealing with what they have. I presume it can be really important.
It is really important. It gives them a different outlook. If you have as I said, any kind of condition, you could no harm, but you're constantly going to medical appointments. You're constantly sitting in waiting rooms for hours and you're in and out of hospital, where a sport might give you a different focus. It might give you a different group of friends, something different in your life. Yeah. Something like you could be involved in small competitions. It just gives you something else to focus on.
Yeah, for sure. How did you find out about foil sailability, and when did you get involved with them?
I got involved with foil sailability in 2018. There were a lady that worked in the development office at ATU, and her name was Karen McCormick. Now, the ATU's got big, so you don't know all the staff, but where I work is the sports centre, and we run children's activities like summer camps and Easter camps, and Karen would come over and book her 2 younger children into it. And with that, we developed a friendship, and it would have been about Easter time, just before Easter, and it would have probably be earlier that year. Karen came over to book her 2 younger kids, and as always, and we're chatting, and then she goes, Rosanna, I'm involved in this group. It's called Foil Sailability, and I'm thinking of organising an inter-college competition between the local 4 main third level institutes in across between the border. And she goes, it's a staff student competition, and would you mind joining? Now, she wasn't aware that I did do water sports and that. And I go, would you be interested? She goes, would you be interested? And I said, aye. And strangely enough, Karen came back and then apologised that she thought she had offended me by asking. I said no, and explained that I was into kayaking. I hadn't done it for a few years for a number of reasons. Just life got busy and stuff. I was no longer a student and, work and stuff and that. So I said I would love to get back in. And because probably of my lungs, it's not that sailing isn't a physical sport, but it's less physical than kayaking, so it's easier that way. So she went on to set up a team. Myself and another staff member called Raymond Gillespie was the staff, and there were 3 students. And DTB here, they put forward students from the National Learning Network, and then the Northwest Institute in Derry had students, and McGee University. So that was it. The whole build up to the competition was 6 weeks. They did a day of theory in the sports centre, so we organised a boat to come in and to the sports hall. We did a day of theory in McGee, and then 2-3 days on the water.
Did you love it from the get-go? I mean, because as you've been on the water, but this is different, isn't it?
It is. Once you got on the water, you got the feel of it. Like the day of theory was just an introduction to get to know the group and stuff. So from the get-go. So it was good competition. It was great. And that was it. So Foil Sailability at that time held evening sessions. Now, it wouldn't be every other week, but it would generally be in line every other week. You had to go with the tides and the currents and that. And the Foyle is one of the fastest flowing channels of water in Europe.
Sure, yeah.
So that was it. So they would be held in the summer, in the evenings. And I suppose I had my own transport, so I could easily drive in and out to Derry. And I drove in and out to Derry to these sessions. And that's how I kept it out.
I mean, it's close, but it's a run as well from Annagry, right?
No, I'm living in it.
Okay, right. Just proud Annagry woman.
Oh, you get the Garrett can leave the Rosses, but the Rosses will never leave the Garrett.
And there's obviously something about Foil Sailability because it's got a strong membership, and that membership's increasing all the while. 25 regular members and 40 who participate on occasional basis, and it's open to people with disabilities from all over the county and region as well.
Yeah.
So, you only have returning customers, so to speak, if something's working well. So they're obviously got a great wee thing going there. Right. So I'm not sure about Ken Curry. In your reward, he said, This is why Roseanne got the award. What clinched it for us was that day in Ballycastle last summer, probably one of the roughest days I've been out in dinghies with sailability. Other experienced sailors were coming back in that day, but you didn't. You stuck it out.
No, we stuck it out now. I suppose, you know what, it's a long drive from Letterkenny, from Derry to Ballycastle, and we were there for a day sailing and when we got out, we met people, experienced sailors from Ballycastle coming towards us. But you know what? We kept going as far as we could in the conditions that it was. But you know what? It was a great day sailing, and it was a great learning experience. And thank God I had a change of clothes with me.
Yeah.
Because we were we were soaked.
Well, last summer, there was very rarely a calm day on the seas,
No,
or
very
the
rare.
loch for that matter.
That's
Just even on calm days, there was a swell.
Aye.
And the wind very rarely dropped. How are you with getting something like this, an award like this? Can you enjoy it, or are you like, oh no, it shouldn't be me?
That's
the second
the
one.
one I
All right, okay, well, you've got it
yeah,
now. So.
as I said to your colleague
Caroline,
Caroline at
yeah.
the weekend, I'm far from a shy person, but I don't like talking about myself or
I know what you
just
mean,
that's just not me.
Are you comfortable if you if you inspire people? That would be easier, wouldn't it? If people
No,
say
it doesn't, because I don't feel my life is
It's
inspiring.
inspirational.
Yeah,
Okay, I get
like
you.
our president of the sailing, so he has his arms amputated,
Mhm.
and he has sailed the Atlantic. He had to single handedly. It just was an unfortunate thing during COVID, and he took off sailing, and there was meant to be people joining him, but the flight stopped and that, so he had to sail back himself, and he crossed the Atlantic.
Wow.
With 1 hour. So like people like that.
I get you.
Yeah, and then Karen herself, the lady that founded it, she was one of the founders of Sailability that introduced me to it. Her daughter has additional needs. She's now developing an app called In Charge, which it's to aid people with additional needs, take more charge of their self-care,
cool,
and like
right.
that.
Yeah.
So she's spent this past 2 years, that's her baby now, and she has nearly at it, the launch stage. She's got it to the, and so like she inspires, like she is driven to do that. She sees her daughter's needs, and she sees how they can be.
Okay, I get you. I understand exactly what you're saying, but maybe let's daisy chain the admiration, because you could admire Ken and others can. But I'll tell you, I don't know what the right to say things, because I don't want to be patronising. But you see, Roseanne, do you know, like, say for instance me, I'm physically okay.
Yeah.
But I feel sorry for myself at times. You know, we tend to.
Yeah.
And we, little things, we can make them seem very, very big. And yet you've got big things that you make seem very, very little. And I think that's where I would be inspired by you, for an example. Do you set yourself targets or goals or anything like? Is there something that else you would like to achieve? Like, it's not, I mean, you're not going to climb Mount Everest or nothing, right?
Well, you know
I
what?
just wouldn't put anything past you.
I always had a desire to climb Erigal, and it never happened. The window of opportunity never happened for Erigal, and it will probably not now because my lungs. But there was a stage where my lungs were I did the women's mini marathon twice in Dublin.
Wow.
And like that would have been the third time in the training. That's when my lungs started. I started to get trouble with my lungs. So unfortunately, that ruled out the mini marathon. So, but so I always had the desire to climb Erigal, and then the year I intended to do it, I took an infection in my foot, and it didn't happen.
One thing,
but
after
that
another,
year I went to Hawaii, and there is a mountain in Honolulu called Diamond Head, and it's virtually the same height as Erigal. It's 755 meters, maybe a wee bit shy of it, and I climbed it.
Wow.
No, to be honest, I know there's a path in Erigal, but there was a better path. But then there was 196 steps to reach the top of it. It was a military lookout point, because it's Hawaii, and
so by the time you got up there,
there
and then
you
you got
get
these
to climb.
these 196
that was the hardest part
Yeah.
of it. You had to go through a bunker.
What do you feel like when you get to the top in that situation?
That situation now, I was.
You go, wow, I've done this.
That's it. I was delighted. I was like a.
Do you ever want to come down there?
I was like a kitten Christmas morning now.
Brilliant stuff. Well, congratulations on your award. A standing contribution awards were also made to Marty Hare and Reggie Downey too, recognising their hard work throughout the year. Are you're sticking with Sailability, or is that box ticked?
No, that will be. I'll be what saleability as long as I physically can, and as long as saleability's there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it seems to be going from strength to strength. So I don't think either it or you are going anywhere. Anything else you want to add, Roseanne, whilst you're here?
No, just
Okay.
Life's life, and you know what? Life is an opportunity because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So make the most of what you can do and when.
Because we're not promised tomorrow.
We're not promised.
There can only ever be one inaugural award. Congratulations
Yeah.
to whoever comes behind you. There can only be one first. So that's Roseanne McGinley, the inaugural Full Saleability Ken Doherty Achievement Award for her exceptional performance in a sailing competition. And again, also credit to Marty Hare and Reggie Downey. I think they received
they received. They're one of our volunteers, and they do tremendous work. They've fix the boat and maintain the boats, and you know what, they be there and they help launch the boats, the work they do. And Reggie has his own company in Derry, and he is, you know, that foil of ventures to speak, and if we need a hand out, he'll be there with an additional boat.
Fantastic.
Or whatever. And then there's a lot, like we have a long-term sponsor in cables and accessories. You know, they have a branch here in Derry. And
cable and accessories. Right, okay, brilliant.
Yes.
All right, so if you're looking for anything that they sell, go and or services, go to them, because it's organisations like that, local businesses, that keep things like this going as well. And I love when they get a mention. So fair play to you for that, Roseanne. Okay, Roseanne McGinley from Annagry. They took her out of the Rosses, moved her to Letterkenny, but you can never take the Rosses out of the woman, as she said herself. Thanks so very much indeed for calling up to us.
No problem. Thanks,
Okay,
Greg.
we'll be back with the weather shortly.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Every decision, moment, and experience has shaped who I am today. I still live at home with the support of a wonderful team who provide home care with respect for who I am, empowering me to live my life my way.
Your life, your way. Visit dovida.ie.
If you're looking for a competitive insurance quote, contact Hickey Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers in Letterkenny. Home, car or van insurance, farm, commercial or public liability insurance. They compare quotes from all the leading insurers so you get a great price. Call Hickey Clark and Langan on 9126688 or call into the office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
If you've got a smart meter, you should get an Electric Ireland smart meter plan too. Why? Because you can see a breakdown of your energy usage like never before. From heating, cooking, lighting and more. Now you can find out how much electricity you use by hour, day and type of appliance, making your usage clearer and your world brighter. Sign up to a smart meter plan at electricireland.ie. Smart meter required, T's and C's apply.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Discover trending new styles each week in fashion, footwear, accessories, homeware and more. Visit us to explore the latest arrivals in store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Short and sweet, bright and sunny, 13 to 18 degrees. Happy days if you can get out and enjoy it. Right, let's get to some of your comments as we head towards the news at 11 o'clock. The reason insurance premiums have not come down is because they've a captive market and we have a useless government that have allowed them and the banks to cripple people and businesses with outrageous costs, which then have to be passed on to the consumer, concludes a listener. Here's a different one here. My wife's car broke down on the Polestar on Saturday, which would be very stressful. You know, it's a stressful enough junction. Can you imagine sitting in the middle of it? But anyway, she was there for 25 minutes before someone helped her. A gentleman came over to help her. I'd like to highlight that he wasn't Irish. Foreigners always get so much stick, but they're good people too. Another Irish man and woman came to help afterwards. Everyone now is too involved in their own lives that nobody wants to help anymore. My wife had a car full of children, and she was blown out of it by other cars. It's unfortunate, isn't it? Well, fair play to the gentleman who came to assist, but stuck on that roundabout for 25 minutes, and other motorists bibbing. That's stress. That would be stressful. With the countries that support the genocide in Gaza by Israel, will they get tariff-free deals from Trump? Russia and China helping with aid in Myanmar right now, while the USA are supplying Israel with bombs to bomb Palestinians. Over 50,000 already killed. Those criticising Pierce Doherty re-insurance were obviously not paying attention to the work that he did reinsurance costs. If we had more like Pierce and Port McLaughlin, we'd be better off, says a listener. Morning, Greg. Do you know what has happened to the post box at Ballyrane, Letterkenny? I live out the Thorn Road and walked up to post a letter after recovering from the shock of paying $1.65 for a stamp. It's got expensive, folks. Well, anyway, I continued up the road to the post box across from Ballyrane School. It's crudely covered with a piece of wood and no instructions as to alternative post boxes. I ended up walking home and having to drive into town to post the letter. Are there no post boxes anymore? There was nothing online to show me locations of alternative post boxes. Now, we've asked An Post to find out what the story is there. That's the best we can do in relation to that. I hope that parents who will be sleeping outside the door tonight are not arrested and strip searched like the women on Monday morning. That's the Mothers Against Genocide, isn't it? Last one before the news. People are naive if they think corporations just won't chuck the costs on consumers and continue. It also assumes factories that don't exist can pop up overnight. That's in relation to the tariffs. Okay, thank you for that.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Atlantic Travel, Letterkenny. Award-winning travel experts. Sail the Sicilian coastline. Dive the Maldives. Tour Riacan and Tuscan vineyards. Stroll the shores of Lake Garda or the streets of Santorini. Indulge the senses. Savor new flavors. Embrace warm welcomes, smiling faces and balmy sunsets. Escape with atlantictravel.ie. Book today.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
Want to win €5,000 towards your dream Donegal wedding? The Gallant family with their 3 stunning venues is here to make your special day unforgettable. From the award-winning Villa Rose and Jackson's Hotels in Ballybuffet to the cosy charm of Anchurch Hotel in Gweedore, we've got the perfect setting for your perfect day. Visit gallantgroup.com today.
Join me, Marty Friel, every Friday night from 8 for Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7, where you can enjoy dinner and drinks in a Woodbury Grill, Bar and Restaurant before bowling in Arena 7's state-of-the-art lanes. See arena7.ie.
Discover the latest styles in bathroom and tiles at Bathroom and Tile Boutique Bridgend. Visit our newly refurbished showroom in Bridgend today and transform your space with stunning designs for quality and style. Call into Bathroom and Tile Boutique Bridgend.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock, time for a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. €2.2 million worth of drugs have been seized in Donegal. It was part of a joint operation targeting organised crime groups and the importation, sale and supply of illegal drugs. 112 kilograms of herbal cannabis was seized by revenue officers in the Lifford Stranorlar area yesterday. The Education Minister says she's committed to ensuring all children with additional needs will have a school place next year. 200 parents will sleep outside Leinster House tonight, calling on the department to engage with them and provide clarity on the efforts being made. Parents from Donegal who've been told their child doesn't have a place at the new Little Angel School in Letterkenny are among those travelling to Dublin today to take part in the demonstration. It's emerged Uisce Éireann customers in Clonmany and Mindoran will have to wait a little longer than they'd hoped for improvement works on the local water supply. Earlier this week, Councillor Martin that work would be complete by the summer. However, Uisce Éireann has now confirmed that while the project is at design stage, construction works proper will take place in late autumn. A playgroup in the Glebe outside Strabane is highlighting the fact that a cap is limiting the number of places they can offer this year. Little Flower Group leader Sandra Harper says they've been capped at 9 places with 13 applications for admission from September. She says this means for the second year in a row they'll be turning away 4 families. Interim works are to be carried out at the Bonagee Bridge in Letterkenny. The bridge has been closed since Storm Éowyn in January due to Donegal County Council's fear that the bridge would collapse. Staff have been carrying out assessments on the bridge. Work on that is to be completed within the next month. And EasyJet has confirmed the launch of a new route from City of Derry Airport to Birmingham. The new service will start on September 1st. EasyJet has also announced its winter routes from City of Derry to Liverpool and Edinburgh have been extended to operate through the summer. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
Donald, thanks very much. Back after a short break.
So, you're already using LPG in your home. Isn't that just gas? Well, it is gas, actually. But imagine how gas it'd be if you were to switch over for free to Flow Gas, with a 2-year fixed price and 400 litres of free LPG when you do so. That's totally gas. So visit flowgas.ie today to switch and save. Flow Gas. Energy for everyone. Terms and conditions apply. See flowgas.ie for more.
Right, we're joined on the programme now by Peter McGee, South Donegal sheep farmer. Hiya, Peter.
Good to hear you.
Good to hear you too. What's the crack?
Oh, no, very exciting days here at Ballybulgan.
Well, for those who don't know, that's between Ballantrae and Lahey, and you've welcomed sextuplet lambs. What's going on?
Yeah, oh, no, we don't know. It's just a miracle, so it is.
It's very rare, isn't it, Peter? It doesn't happen very often.
Rare. The scanner, my cousin, Kieran McGee, he never heard, and he scanned cabin and up that country and big herds, and he never heard tell of it. Never seen it before.
But you have 2 sheep, like as rare as 1 sheep having 6 lambs, you've got 12 lambs from 2 sheep.
12 lambs. The 12 was in the garden there yesterday. I don't know if you got any photographs of them or not.
I have. I'm looking at them, and you're just surrounded by
lambs.
lambs.
You're looking at them?
Your lambs are all over the shop.
Yeah. It's unreal. It does you good when you see them all play. You know, you can't believe it yourself. You know what has happened.
You birthed them yourself, and I imagine obviously you had to bring them on for quite some time. A lot of time and dedication to get them all as healthy as they look.
Nearly a week in the shed, night and day. They were fed every 2 hours for the first 4 or 5 days. You know, for they're only small and only drank a small little at a time. You know, and. So that, and then went on to 3 hours and 4 hours. That's the way they came along, you know.
It really is remarkable that firstly, one sheep had 6 lambs, the second sheep had 6 lambs, and then obviously thanks to your care and dedication, Peter, that they're all healthy and thriving, both mothers and the lambs.
So that's you know, there's no weak ones. They're all strong. They're all nearly even. You know, it's unreal.
All right, okay. And great excitement around the house too. There's young ones around the farm as well.
Oh, sure,
Peter.
Great for the grandchildren. So it is. It's very exciting for them. So it is. You know.
And what's it like now? I mean, obviously you're used to being a popular local man. Obviously, you know, a successful farmer. What's it like being a celebrity now?
I don't know. I worked for McGee, you know, in Donegal town for 40 years.
Right.
In the weaving, you know, with the hand woven, so I had a part in the wool all along, you know, with all the different yarns and everything, you know, and I spent 40 years in McGee.
It's funny, we were talking yesterday to the owner of McGee's, the CEO of McGee's, about the EU protection for Donegal tweed, and it's people like yourself, really, I suppose, that were critical in the quality of that over the years, right at the use with the core material, you know.
Yes, I was quality control. I had to pass it before it went out to the factories to give me a dub.
All right, it's amazing, isn't it? 40 years is an amazing amount of time, Peter, to be at anything.
Yeah, it is, but McGee's were very good to me, so they were, and so I was good to them. You know, that's the way it worked, you know.
That's it. And now you're just banging out lambs left, right, and centre.
Yeah,
Is any vet?
I
What are you putting on the grass? Has any vets any theories as to how you can produce 2 sets of sextuplets?
don't know. I suppose it's down to good care and minerals and everything. You know, they got everything that they needed. You know,
Yeah.
and I suppose that was part of it. And they're getting the yo's milk now. You know, that's powdered up in Louth, shine they call it.
Mm.
And it's a very good. There's a great boost to the lamb as well now. You know.
There's something about you.
Yeah,
You've got 6 grandchildren, and now you've got 2
Yeah.
sheep with 6 lambs. 6 is the magic number, I think, for you.
Yeah.
Listen, well done, Peter. Thanks so much for joining us. Great to hear
Well,
things
thanks
are
a
going
million.
well.
Thanks for ringing. Hey.
Oh no, well our
Pleasure to talk to you.
old friend Siobhan McGowan gave us a tip off as well. I used to work with Siobhan.
Oh,
down
very
in,
good. Siobhan is here. Yeah. Lovely girl. So yes.
I
Yeah.
used to work with Siobhan down in Northwest Radio. They're
Oh,
opposite.
did you?
You remember opposite McGee's? Were you there?
Oh,
when,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that wee
Aye.
spot.
A lovely person.
Yeah, she's lovely. Okay, as you are, Peter. Well done. It's great to see
Well-
the story around the place.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks for ringing. Thanks a million, Greg. Good to speak to you.
All right, chat to you soon, Peter. That's Peter McGee there. He's based down the South County Ballantrae Lahey area. A remarkable story: 2 sheep, 12 lambs. I mean, it's rare, right? You'll see a single lamb, you'll see twin lambs. You know, you're out there, farmers. You know that's that happens reasonably regularly. You might get the scans to say triplets are there, and you're going, okay, that's pretty rare. Quads, you don't see that too often. Quintuplets, even rarer. Sextuplets, extremely rare. But he had 2 sheep with 2 sets of sextuplets, which is amazing. 6 lambs each, and he's got 6 grandchildren as well. All right, so wait, 6, 60, 25,000. I don't think you'll beat that unless you turn up with a blue oyster or something. We do see this rare stuff quite often, funny enough. Back to some politics here now. Opposition should obstruct and waste the technical group's time constantly. Murphy's proven she can't handle a united opposition without business being stalled, so they should just stall every time Larry's crowd get to speak. But there comes a point where we are facing some serious issues, and we really actually do need to get on with work. How they do that, it's not for me to determine, but anyway, there you go. Civility is the death of a robust political system. Sometimes being stubborn and loud is 100% necessary, says a listener, in a functional democracy. Look at the passivity from the opposition in the States. A complete joke. Opposition is there to fight for those that elected them. The only thing is I don't think really the media is serving the American people very well. In that, I think pro Trump media is obsessed, obviously, with Trump, but I think anti-Trump media is also obsessed with Trump. So really, I think the journalists probably should get back to the job of journalism instead of trying to catch out the press secretary or whatever seems to go on. Just waiting for that person to join me, Caroline. I'm just waiting for that person to join me. All right, switch to line 2. Okay, I hadn't brought Stephen in. He was on a different platform, but we're on line 2 now. And Stephen McLaughlin is Director of Clinical Services at White Oaks Rehabilitation Centre in Muff. Stephen, thanks for your time today.
How you doing?
I'm doing very good indeed. Right, okay. I was reading young people in Donegal can easily spend 300, 400, or even 500 a week on cocaine. You've been warning that at the current trajectory, cocaine will soon overtake alcohol in terms of addiction problems in the Northwest. And that's something we should all be very, very worried about. Rather than sort of driving down substance or alcohol usage, where we're sort of seeing 2 different very harmful drugs jockeying for the number 1 position almost, Stephen.
There certainly has been a change in habit. I mean, both alcohol and cocaine represent, the alcohol still represents a significant challenge and would still be the major issue that's brought people into treatment for addiction here. But what we do notice is a definite increase over the last maybe 7-8 years or more in the use of cocaine among young people, particularly, and then with all the problems that go along with that. I suppose the simplest way I could put it is that we rarely find a young person under the age of, say, 40 coming in here for treatment who hasn't been using cocaine or for whom cocaine hasn't become a significant problem. So there's something important that's happening there. And I think that it's happening almost in a very insidious way, that maybe a lot of people aren't aware of the availability of cocaine, the ease with which people seem to get access to it. And the figures of how much money has been spent, it can go from anywhere from 300-400 up to 1,000. Certainly when people come to us and they've developed an addiction, in some cases their entire week's wage is going on the drug, and that shows you the extent to which they have become addicted and the kind of devastation that it's causing in their lives.
In dealing with the people that do seek help, what are you learning about drug usage in Inishowen across the county and region, and how easy it is to access cocaine? Because, I mean, there obviously is a it's readily available. There's a ready supply there, obviously, because people are...
Yeah. Well, a lot of the cocaine, from what I hear, would be that it comes down, I suppose, through a distribution network from Dublin, Belfast. A lot of it perhaps originates, and then maybe at a more local level, there are people who are involved in then supplying it to others. I suppose a lot of people seem to access it through people that they know who are maybe regarded as small-time or low-level dealers, in the sense that they're using themselves and they're supplying maybe a circle of or friends or acquaintances that they know. So it comes down through that kind of chain, and one of the features of it is that at each level of that chain, the drug is being cut and diluted so that what people are actually taking, what they're using when they're using in the lake of Donegal or indeed any part of Ireland, is quite often a drug that has been diluted and may indeed be much less than maybe 10% cocaine. The other 90% is actually other substances that no one really knows what exactly is in it. It can be a mixture of benzodiazepines, it can be caffeine, other kind of chemicals that a dealer has just used to bulk it up and in order to increase their profit margin.
Do you get the impression that not the impression because it's knowledge, like, are there any groups, socioeconomic groups or whatever, that are more vulnerable to becoming addicted to cocaine? I remember reading an article that was a particular problem in rural farming communities, that people were, so is it across the board, or are you seeing any patterns that are worth noting in terms of how we might deal with this?
No, I think that there, in the past, and I'm going back maybe, 10 plus years, when the use of it would not have been as prevalent in maybe rural areas, it was more associated, people talked about it as a kind of a yuppie drug, which was associated with high earning people working in maybe in more in the urban areas. But that is all gone. It's now right across the board in terms of socioeconomic groups. So you can have everyone from people who are, I suppose, described as maybe professionals to others who are in areas of life that maybe traditionally wouldn't have been using drugs, which can include farmers. I think the main difference would be in terms of age group. We would find it's less prevalent in those over the age of maybe 40, 45, but certainly in that cohort of people from sort of late teens through their 20s and 30s, that's where you're finding more and more of them are using cocaine, seem to have access, and seem to be prepared to spend substantial amounts of money.
And you said earlier on, there's almost an expectation that someone presenting now for help with an addiction that it either will be for cocaine, or cocaine is a factor in their sort of addictive their addiction life.
Among younger people, that would be the case. Yes.
Is there?
We would almost expect it. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, lots of people will have, dealt with someone with alcoholism on their life, or we've interviewed countless people who've had alcohol addiction or are alcoholics, and there's a pattern often of, it goes for a certain amount of time, and often then there is a low point or a turning point, but it can often be maybe 5, 10, 15 years into their drinking life. Is it different with cocaine?
That's not the case with cocaine.
Yeah, that was the
question.
It is
very much so. I mean, the acceleration of the addiction, if I can put it that way, is much faster with cocaine. Yes, quite often people may have developed a problem with alcohol, but it takes maybe several years until they reach that point. It may initially just be, problematic use or casual use, and then becomes something else. But with cocaine, what we are discovering is that, from the onset of use to it becoming really problematic takes a shorter period of time. And I suppose that indicates the way in which, as a substance, it has that much greater impact on a person's life, so that they return to it time and time again. And the addictive quality of it is much more significant in that sense, so that people get into difficulty and then develop other mental health problems. And I mean, that's one of the significant aspects of cocaine use is people report, paranoia and psychosis, which then can sometimes lead to episodes of treatment in hospital, having to go into the psychiatric hospital. And this, obviously, as you can imagine, presents real problems for a family, because families then are left trying to deal with this. And the behavior that presents itself when a young person is using cocaine, that kind of behavior can often be so erratic and bizarre that it's quite frightening for family members. How exactly do they respond?
When I was growing up, obviously drink was readily available. Everyone had a drink, but I wasn't really aware of drug taking, and I wasn't inclined to try because it was a big no-no when you were warned how bad it was, and that was even for cannabis, to be honest, not just the likes of cocaine. It just wouldn't have been on the agenda because you would have thought you were doing something very, very bad and what have you. Now, maybe I was naive and other people my age aren't the same. I'm just wondering, do you get a sense of what the youth's attitude to cocaine is in terms of, whether it shouldn't be a no? In other words, do younger people now sort of see cocaine usage on a par with going out and having a pint?
Well, I think there certainly has become a greater acceptability about it. The tolerance of it seems to have increased, and in that sense, what you've described perhaps years ago, where there was a certain taboo about using drugs, may no longer be as strong. And maybe within society, of course, people tend to say, well, using drugs maybe isn't as bad as alcohol, or alcohol has got more damaging effects. I don't think it's a case of either or. It's simply that where a person's life, where they begin to become dependent on having to have some kind of psychoactive substance, then, once their use of that substance becomes regular and casual and normalized, that then leads to significant problems, which they may be able to mask for a certain period of time, but eventually it begins to spill over into all aspects of their life. Their ability to work, to function, family, relationships, all of those things then begin to get affected very, very quickly. So the question about the acceptability of it, you would hear anecdotally how people are able to use it now quite casually in certain venues and the like of that. So whether people have become used to it in that sense is certainly, that seems to be featuring much more so. But the difficulty with it is that, when people sometimes compare things, I find people often saying, well, with alcohol, it comes in a bottle, it's labelled, there's some degree of quality control, but with drugs like cocaine, there's absolutely none of that. And nobody knows exactly what's in that substance. And of course, sometimes it has led to really tragic consequences.
For sure. Obviously, White Oaks is a fantastic organisation which was established, people might know, by the late Father Neil Collin in 2001. But White Oaks deals with addiction, and we understand that. But I'm just wondering, do you learn from dealing with people perhaps issues with debt? I'm just curious, when people are spending so much money on these drugs, and maybe they're getting an advance or something, and then the penny drops that they've got this awful addiction. It's a dangerous game, right? Organised criminals run the drugs industry, and they can't be ripped off because that's not how it works. Does that factor into your knowledge base about how people are finding themselves indebted or under threat, or the impact it's having on families? Can that be a trigger for them to seek help?
Yes, I mean, the fact is that those who are dealing in the drugs, particularly the larger dealers, they will impose they'll impose their threats and fear on not just the individual who has received the drugs from them, but they look upon it as, well, if we can't get the money from you, we'll go after your family. And we certainly, because we have a lot of interaction with family members here at White Oaks, and they will report to us how they feel under real significant pressure. And in some cases, when they've perhaps gone to the guards, to seek help, and not criticising the guards, but, they've been given, I suppose, advice in some instances. Look, you're faced with a real difficult choice here. And in some cases, they would almost feel that I suppose that the wiser option is to deal with the debt, pay it off, and be done with it.
No, that's bizarre.
Now, all that does, of course, is keep that cycle moving around and around. Our response to family members here is, as it is with any form of addiction, you can't fix this addiction yourself. You can't take care of it, and you shouldn't put yourself in that position. So therefore, we would not advocate people to pay off debts and do things like that.
Are you saying are you saying that some people tell you that the Gardaí do say really the path of least resistance is trying to get the money together?
I'm not saying that is a policy within the Gardaí.
No, of course.
In individual cases where perhaps real threats have been made. And I can understand where in the immediate circumstances, the advice may be, look, this problem's not going to go away, and if you feel under threat, perhaps it's a way of trying to deal with it at the moment. But in the long run,
that's knocked me for six. I'm not going to lie to you. That has knocked me for six. But one other question.
I suppose it's a reflection of the fact that the Gardaí cannot possibly protect every family.
No, of course, but still,
in every situation.
I get you.
They can't take on that burden.
No, I take that. Sorry for having to move it along a little bit, because it is. I'm just also too. People might go, right, I've got a problem with cocaine. I'm going into the White Oaks because I want to just focus on having a couple of drinks because I can do that, and that's fine. You have to. I mean, obviously, you would be. You're promoting abstinence. If taking a mind-altering substance is very bad for your health, or you become addicted to it, you can't sort of say, right, one's good and one's bad. I'm just curious if people come in thinking, listen, my drinking's okay, can you just fix the cocaine problem? And I'm not trivialising it, don't get me wrong, Stephen. I hope you understand the motivation for the question.
It doesn't work, because at the heart of it is addiction. And once a person has developed addiction in their lives, be it to cocaine or to any other substance, if they simply try to switch their use from one thing to another, in our experience, very quickly they will develop a serious problem with something else. So yes, we come across that quite regularly, where someone is of the view that they've just got one particular type of issue, maybe with cocaine or perhaps with alcohol. But at the heart of it all is addiction, and it's the fact that they've developed an addictive way of dealing with life and depending on substances in order to manage and cope with their life. And it's that addictive aspect that has to be tackled. So it can never be a case of simply substituting one thing for another. It's not a case of a lesser of two evils type of thing. The difficulty is the addiction and the way in which they're living their lives. So treatment and recovery is about trying to enable a person to manage their life and deal with their emotions in a much healthier way, in which they're not going to be dependent on any kind of substance. That's what the aim of recovery is for. And that's what groups like AA and NA and the like of that, or CA, are set up to do, to provide people with that ongoing support. Because we don't claim to fix people in a short period of time here. We simply try to lay a foundation on which they can build recovery in their life. But in order for that to happen, it's a long, difficult road, and they need support. And those recovery groups that are out there in the community are there to help people, manage themselves in dealing with addiction.
And we really need to get to the root cause of this, or stop the supply lines. How long is it? Is it going to be in 5 years' time or 10 years' time that you and I are talking about fentanyl? Because if you've got a large population who are open to taking cocaine, we're not even having an argument about whether cannabis is a gateway drug or not anymore. We're straight on to cocaine almost. What's the next step? Is it fentanyl? Or whatever, because there are criminal gangs that are looking at trends and seeing what's coming next and how much money they can make from it. It's something that we're very grateful to have, the likes of the White Oaks Rehabilitation Centre in Muff. But really, it would be great if we had a situation where you guys were twiddling your thumbs, and unfortunately, it doesn't feel like it's going that way. No. Stephen, would you be concerned that if we are seeing more hard drugs being used, that it's only a matter of time before we see these other drugs coming into the market?
We'll say, I suppose, God forbid, the day that substances like fentanyl start to become used in a more widespread fashion in Ireland. I'm sure there certainly are aspects of it already happening. But rather than having, I suppose, a doomsday approach to all of this, one of the significant, I suppose, things that is happening would be, for example, that alcohol consumption among young people is, by all of the research and the data that we receive, is perhaps beginning to level off. And the kind of lifestyle a lot of young people are living, they no longer seem to have the same attraction to alcohol. And, you could take that as being a positive sign. I know people might say, well, are young people using other substances instead of it? Perhaps so.
Well, Stephen, in fairness, one of the, and I would love you to finish that point, because I do appreciate that we'd be. But when I was having one of the first interviews with one of the ministers that was floating things like minimum unit pricing for alcohol, I did express, and it's on record, my concern that might make other alternatives which are readily available more attractive, and that we need to be doing a multiple pronged approach. So if we are doing something with alcohol that may lead to an increase in the likes of cocaine use, what are we doing alongside that legislation, or what are we ring fencing to try and best ensure that we're not driving people into... Now, it's only anecdotal, but I would actually have genuine concerns that in trying to tackle the drink problem, we took the eye off the ball. We didn't better resource drugs units. We didn't put money into educating people about the genuine, real dangers of not just alcohol, but also the likes of cocaine. So for me, and I'm not attributing this to you at all, for me, the increase in cocaine use to some extent is a problem of our own doing. But that's just my view, and I know you may, and you're the expert, actually have a very different view. But anyway, continue your point, Stephen, or if you want to reference that, it's
Yeah,
completely up to you.
I don't know whether the increase in cocaine use is a result of sort of maybe a slight decline in alcohol use. I'm not sure about that, to be quite honest. But I do believe certainly that in the overall issue that we're dealing with in addiction, it's not just a substance problem. It goes into the areas of mental health, and it's a broader, and I suppose I use this term, with a certain amount of caution. I see it deep down as being a spiritual problem, in the sense that it's about the whole person. Addiction is really about how a person lives their life and manages themselves and finds a sense of meaning and purpose in their own life. I think there are deeper questions certainly being asked of society by the increasing use of drugs. And it's not just a question for guards or indeed even for the like of the HSE and those who provide services or ourselves. It's a wider societal problem. And, obviously there's a whole lot of different ways you can approach this. Education about the stuff and the dangers involved is one aspect. But I think it's also about the broader area of how people, how they feel about themselves, how they manage themselves, what they avail of in terms of their own mental health. And I think there is a growing awareness of all of that today, which may take time to kind of filter through society. But I see it deep down as I would use that term as a spiritual problem.
Okay.
It's about the person, the whole person, and we've got to address that in a country like Ireland. Why is it that the quality of life for a lot of people has suffered so much that a lot of people have become dependent on the use of substances just to manage themselves and to cope with things in their life?
Yeah, of course. But you also have a group of individuals that are there on hand to exploit that. And that also,
yeah.
But I take exactly what you're saying, but someone has to host that national conversation as well. So someone has to administer for drugs. Also, you know what I mean? You're doing
Certainly.
amazing stuff. We can do what we can do, but we're only going to get somewhere if someone takes the bull by the horns and looks at all the prongs of it. Stephen, thank you so much for your time. Stephen McLaughlin, Director of Clinical Services at the White Oaks Rehabilitation Centre in Muff. That was Wednesday's Wellness Wednesday. If your life's been affected by drugs, or your family, or you can give us an insight into debt issues or anything in relation to that, and you're comfortable to even contact us or even contact me privately on my own social media, if that makes you feel more comfortable, please feel free to do so. Cocaine, the prediction is, will soon overtake alcohol in terms of addiction problems here. It's not far off it already. And these drugs, which once were, you can't do that. No. Now, it seems to be okay. All right, this desk is, there's something seriously wrong with this desk. It's the microphone cable. Okay, I'll look at that. I'm not sure if you can hear that. I can hear it on my headphones. Can you hear that there? Yeah, it's this microphone cable, so that needs to be addressed. Okay, business matters on the way.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Looking for fresh, local, convenient shopping? Mabel Stores have you covered across Donegal. From apples to AdBlue, we have everything you need whenever you need it. Calling all little artists. Our Easter colouring competition is now open. Pick up a colouring sheet in your local Mabel store and return it by April 17th for your chance to win fantastic prizes. See you in store for more. Don't forget to follow your local Mabel store on Facebook for weekly offers. Oh, and we also sell fuel too. Mabel Stores. Fresh, convenient, local.
Do you know what really drives business success? Your people. At Skillnet Ireland, we know that having a skilled and talented team makes all the difference. Our upskilling programs and 70 Skillnet business networks help businesses thrive by developing your greatest asset, your people. Now that's real talent. Discover how Skillnet Ireland can support your business today. Visit skillnetireland.ie. Skillnet Ireland is a business support agency of the Government of Ireland.
Imagine a wedding venue that can be hired exclusively for you and your guests. Picture stunning views overlooking one of Donegal's most scenic beaches, an authentic country manor as your accommodation, incredible glass-fronted marquee views all day, and a team of experts who want to help you plan every step of the way. Sounds too good to be true? Not at Drumhalla House in Rathmullen. It really has to be seen to be believed. Visit drumhallahouse.ie or check out Drumhalla House on Instagram for more details.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time's 11:36.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
With me now, Chris Ashmore, presenter of Highland Radio's Business Matters podcast. Chris, how are you keeping?
Very good, Greg. Lovely day out there.
It is indeed a lovely day in here too, Chris. Right, we were talking about opportunities. Local Enterprise Office has a programme that's there for applications now. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, now this is a program called Scala, and it's basically targeted at what we would term high potential startups and firms who feel that they've got an opportunity to expand. It's actually unique to Donegal, and applications are now open for people to get involved. They're really looking in particular at the tech, engineering, blue economy, health sciences sectors. And the deadline is the 11th of April. You can get a lot of support from experts in the respective fields if you sign up. Now, 12 businesses will be selected. It runs for 11 weeks, and a great opportunity to boost your business with some really good expertise and advice there. So if you want to find out more, just contact the local enterprise office on that one.
Okay, bit of an update on power generation, power usage.
Well, interesting to note, Greg, we all know that wind accounts for a fair proportion of the electricity that's generated, and Donegal has a lot of wind farms. But the latest report for our electricity generation figures show that solar power in Ireland is now, we're getting more electricity from solar power than we are from hydroelectric schemes. Now, if you go back Irish industrial history, the Ardnacrusha scheme down in Shannon was a mold breaker in its time. There are a number of small hydro stations. Of course, there's one in Ballyshannon that people may be familiar with, also one out in West Donegal. But interestingly now, we are going to see solar farms, Meath, Wexford and Kildare of the three biggest ones. They're creeping northwards, and in March, up to 2.5% of the national electricity came from solar power. So look, you know, it's a sign of changing technology. We would have dismissed this out of hand 10 years ago, and there are certainly companies who are out there. They're looking for landowners, and this is something we're going to see more of, and it will happen here in Donegal.
I mean,
look,
we're going to get in terms of how we generate electricity. We're going to get there, right? I mean, you know, whether wind's maxed out in this part of the world or not, I don't know. But we are going to see wave energy inevitably. We are going to see offshore wind generation. We are going to see more of these solar farms. That's inevitable. It's just how quickly we get there and how fair the transition feels for the consumer.
Indeed, and there are a lot of people in the green sector who feel with a degree of optimism that, you know, Ireland can become a net exporter. We will get over this hurdle, as you say, eventually, and places like Donegal could be well poised to benefit from it.
Okay, well, if in other countries where this kind of stuff is more successful, there's more of a local dividend. So if you have a wind farm close to you, there's a benefit to your area. Actually, I say that there are actually funding rounds from wind energy companies already in situ. Sorry, I should have noted that. Right, daft.ie asking prices, their latest report. They all come out at the one time and they all look at different metrics. And I think if they spread them out a bit more, it might be more beneficial, because some are selling prices, some are asking prices, and they compare different houses and what have you. But what have you garnered from the daft.ie report?
Well, as you say, Greg, you can look at them in different ways. But the one thing we can safely say, and it's not good news if you're going out to try and buy a new house, is that the price of houses is continuing to go up, and nationally up about 8% in the first quarter of the year. Now, here in Donegal, the average price of a house is now 230,000 and rising. Now, the thing is that we're now talking about house prices that are roughly a third higher than they were at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. So look, they're only going one way. The little glimmer of good news is that interest rates are heading down, so the cost of borrowing is getting cheaper. But if you're going to be looking to purchase a house in the next few years, the price just keeps going up. And of course, one of the big reasons for that is the construction costs have gone up, and they might level off a bit, but things rarely come down, as you know.
And one of the greatest factors in terms of house price is the availability of money, the financial climate, the international financial climate, and demand. And all of that could change. We could be at the top of the housing market because we don't know how significant Liberation Day, Trump Day, Tariffs Day might, the implications of this. And he is entering the Rose Garden, local time 4:00. He's going to be announcing his tariffs, Chris.
Yeah, we've heard so much in the last few days about this. I'm just hoping, perhaps like when we had the millennium and all the big scare about what was going to happen with the bug. Look, the bottom line is we really don't know. It's going to take time to settle. A lot of the business organizations are going to say we need to step back, take stock, see what he says. Interesting, just noting today, Greg, we hear a lot about the auto industry, and the best-selling car in America, which is a Ford. The model escapes me the name of it. It's one we don't have here, but the best-selling model there, 45% of its components come from Mexico, and there's going to be tariffs on them. So it's going to take a while.
Yes, but 100% of Teslas are made in America, which is really quite convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, and Tesla's share price is actually down 36% since the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. So, look, it's a very interesting time.
It's just that, I'm listening to British companies talking about, car manufacturers, for an example, as you mentioned, talking about looking for alternative markets and all that kind of stuff. The nature of our economy being a small open economy, pharmaceuticals and the hosting of tech giants. 58 billion euro in exports of pharmaceuticals, 72 billion in total to the United States annually. Even if that's interfered by 30%, let's be optimistic, 30%. That is a massive hit on the tax take here in this country, and enjoy your house prices at the moment, because I'll tell you, if the economy starts to tank here, everything tanks. But I'm not being doomsday. Let's wait and see. I like the way you think, Chris. We'll wait and see, but people shouldn't think, it's just Trump play acting. This could have deep repercussions in Europe, but more so for us in Europe, because if they decide to retaliate and they go for the tech companies, the US tech companies, that's us on the hook for that.
Yeah, now one of the big things, you mentioned the pharma area. Of course, there's a huge amount of investment by American firms here. But the startup costs, whether they're going to relocate, start manufacturing in America, that's all going to take time.
But you see, Chris, not cutting across you, but I said on this program, and I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong, I said on this program that the likes of BP and those big companies that were investing heavily in green, that they wouldn't change their policies because of what Trump had done for the same reason. But J.D. Vance is coming behind him. He's going to get in. That's another 4 years. And I note that BP are actually starting to redirect their funds away from green energy creation into oil exploration again. So I would have agreed with you until I saw what BP were prepared to do, a complete shift in where they see the future of their company.
Yeah, and of course, with all the talk about Greenland as well, and there could be a big change and the knock-on effects for climate change. Then that said, I was listening to a guy who said if the tariffs come in and there's less world trade and there's less shipping, that has a positive effect on climate change because we've less pollution due to transport. So look, we can spin all these things. It's a wait and see game, Greg, and fingers crossed it may not be as bad as some are saying it.
All right, okay. But just to recap, 72.6 billion euro is Irish exports to the United States. 58 billion euro of that is pharmaceuticals. And Trump is going to announce, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ireland is mentioned, specific tariffs on pharma. All right, Chris, stay where you are. I have to take a very quick break, and then we're going to come back and discuss this week's Business Matters.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
At Lidl, we searched for fantastic Easter eggs and found them close to home. Thank Cavan Chocolatier, Anya's Handmade Chocolates, for our wide range of deluxe Easter eggs. You'll taste delicately handmade chocolate with the purest of ingredients from $6.99. Proudly supporting Irish suppliers. Shop without compromise. Go full Lidl this Easter.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
Joe Gallagher Entertainment presents the Ultimate 70s Night, Sunday, October 26th. Get ready for Shawadi Wadi and the Bay City Rollers live at the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Sing and dance the night away to all the hits. Tickets on sale at ticketmaster.ie and hotel reception. Don't miss this unforgettable night, October 26th at the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny.
Brian McCormick Sports, supporting Donegal GAA. New range in store for the new rules on pitch. Layer up with a new Donegal Dynamo range. Gilets and jackets with matching hats. New Donegal goalkeeper jersey. Looks good enough to be worn in any position. Show your colours. Click on BMC Sports.
Okay.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000.
Now, the Business Matters podcast is available for you to listen every Wednesday. We broadcast it on the radio on Sunday as well. Chris, what's coming up on the show today?
Well, in this week's programme, I'm speaking with...
Every time I take a break, you take clothes off. I'm going to take 2 more breaks and we might have you in the nip.
It's getting warm. No, my guest is Bank of Ireland Area Operations and Risk Manager Jimmy Stafford, who many of our listeners will know from his Highland Radio hat, of course, presenting with Paul McDevitt at the Monday night sessions, a big promoter of local music. But I've been speaking to him about his banking career, the changes that he has seen in the banking sector, and of course, recently he was elected for his second time as president of Letterkenny Chamber. The first time was during COVID, and he's from Cove in County Cork, loves Donegal, always very much to the forefront in promoting the county. And we discuss a number of things, including also, Greg, the fact that cash will always be with us. There's legislation coming up that's going to help protect those who use cash, and there will be a certain amount of ATMs around the country to encourage those people who still use cash to be able to avail of those facilities. And we can hear about this, in this clip.
Well, I'm going to have to skip the clip because we've just got something we have to go to. But the whole interview is available on the podcast. It's available right now. It's broadcast then on Sunday, Chris, after Donegal beat Derry.
That's correct, Greg. Okay. After the 6 o'clock news on Sunday, when everybody on one side of the border is in good form in their cars driving
Could be a draw. All right, okay. Listen, Chris, and if anyone wants to contact you,
businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Thank you so very much indeed, Chris. Chat to you next week.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Hip hip hooray! Hip and knee replacement surgery is now fully reimbursed by the HSE under the Northern Ireland Planned Healthcare Scheme. Why wait? Access treatment faster at Kingsbridge Private Hospital in Belfast or Ballykelly. You'll be seen within 7 days and have your surgery within 21 days. We guarantee it. Text hello to 51777 for a call back from our dedicated cross-border team, or visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border for further information.
We love better value at Dunnes Stores, with a selection of half-price offers across some of your favourite big brands. That's chocolate bar multi-packs like Kit Kat 9-pack range, large soft drinks like 7-Up Zero and Pepsi Max 2 litre, and cereal like Kellogg's Crunchy Nuts 720 gram. All half price. Plus, save at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used to next grocery shop of €25 or more. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
Mike Denver in concert with special guest Red Hurley at the Millennium Forum Derry on Saturday, April 5th. Tickets at Millennium Forum box office and also online. That's Mike Denver with guest Red Hurley at the Millennium Forum on Saturday, April 5th.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Discover trending new styles each week in fashion, footwear, accessories, homeware and more. Visit us to explore the latest arrivals in store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Bright and sunny, temperatures 13 to 18 degrees. Aoife Dorian is a parent and part of the Don't Forget Our Little Angels for September 25 campaign. Hopefully, Aoife, we've a better connection. How are you getting on as you make your trip to Dublin today?
Yeah, we're still making our way up there at the minute, Greg, so we are.
Right, now you are going to be sleeping out tonight, marking World Autism Day. I want to get back to where we are at in terms of this campaign. Have you received any information at all from government or ministers representing government about securing places for these children for September in Little Angels School?
Greg, to date, now we have received no verification on when this report's going to be. It had been highlighted that it would be this week. We did get notification last night that we will not be receiving that report this week, and it possibly be into next week now. But we have been in contact with Charlie McConnell, and we have requested a meeting with the minister today when we're up there. So we're just waiting on to get word back in regards to that.
And as I said to you in our earlier call, you never would have found yourself in a situation, Aoife, where you were sitting on a bus going to sleep out in Dublin for your kids.
No, not in your wildest dreams as a parent. Do you think that you'd have to come to the stage where you have to fight for a place in a school for your child?
Is Hugh with you?
He is, yeah. He's here beside me.
I might have a quick chat to Hugh. Hugh, how are you keeping?
I'm fine, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. Again, just like Aoife, you wouldn't have thought you'd have to do this to try and secure places for your beautiful children, your grandchildren, sorry.
Yeah, as a granddad of two children with special needs, never did I think I would have to make this journey, especially in a country that's apparently awash with money and is the third wealthiest nation in the world, from what I believe. And it's unbelievable that this has to be done. But I must say, fair play to these strong women, and that's what is here. And sitting here beside my good friend Neil Colin McAlasbook as well. So, yeah, going up to try and give a bit of support.
All right, can I have a quick chat with Patricia, Hugh, if you don't mind?
Yeah, that's fine.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hey, Patricia, how are you getting on? Are you all right?
Yeah, we're not too bad. We're past Monaghan now, so we're getting closer to the capital.
What are you going to do tonight? Talk to me about what the plan is, because it's not just you guys. You are joining other parents. Unfortunately, this is a nationwide issue.
This is a nationwide issue. We are coming up and representing our county and our struggles, but we're joining in with the other parents and supporting them in their struggle. You know, we are calling not just for a school place for our 9 children, but we're calling for this to be sorted nationwide. There's an itinerary set out for the day. There's people giving speeches, there's inspirational speakers, and we're hoping to meet with the minister while we're there and hopefully resolve our issue at the minute.
Do you have any indication if any ministers or government representatives are going to come out to speak to you? I mean, obviously, we'd anticipate that our local government representatives in Charlie McConnell and Pat the Cope Gallagher will engage with you.
No, we've had no confirmation from anybody other than our local representatives.
All right, okay. If you could put me back to Aoife, Patricia, that would be fantastic.
Yep. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you so much. I mean, Aoife, you know, like you could be going down there to campaign for a new school. because the old school's out of date. We're in a situation whereby we're actually trying to get places for children into a brand new school. There is the old school there. One would hope if there is a will, there is a way to get accommodation for all of these children. But we need to know soon because certain equipment may need to be bought, etc.
Yeah. As I had just, as I have vocalised from the very start, is that time is of the essence in regards to the feedback that we get from the department and get back from the minister. Is that even though that we will secure spaces in September, I am very hopeful that we will. That it's the equipment and the speediness of them getting back to us now at this stage, Greg.
Yeah, and it's not just about your children and Hugh's grandchildren and Patricia's children. This is about a lot of children that, for instance, parents don't yet know that they'll need these facilities, or may next year or the year after or the year after that. We need to be not only looking after our children now, but ensuring planning for the future. We know the children. We know how many there are.
Yeah, it's about future-proofing now as well. I know this is our fight today, Greg, but this is everyone's fight, because you never know that when you're in the position that you'll need Little Angels or a school like Little Angels. This is about future-proofing now. It's a bigger picture that we need to look at.
Okay, well, listen, you're sleeping out tonight. It's going to be cold, but we know why you're doing it, and we know how often you would do it if it means justice and fairness for your children. If we can, we'll touch base with you tomorrow morning. I hope that...
I'd love to give you the feedback as well, if with the meetings and the feedback from the TDs and the ministers as well.
Yeah, well, we'd appreciate that. And just to note, I mean, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about this tomorrow, and there'll be an awful lot to say, I think, if no one comes out to you and speaks to you and supports you and gives you the support that I think anyone listening to this show believes that you need or you deserve. Sorry. Okay, Aoife, thanks to you, Patricia, Hugh, and all of the families. These are amazing people because, you know, you're advocating on behalf of your own children, but the wider family as well. So thanks for your time. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks, Greg.
Bye-bye. Okay, thank you very much indeed. That's Aoife Dorian there. We also heard from Hugh, a granddad of two, Patricia, all heading down to sleep overnight so that their children get spaces at the brand new Little Angels school. And as I say, we're going to be touching base with them tomorrow. We'll see what happens, what the political reaction to what they have to do, what they have done. We'll see what the political reaction is. So tune in for that and so much more besides tomorrow. But that's